भरतरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसूक्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वदाम्ना हन्यां सहस्रचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं वंशीविभूषितकरान्नवनीगदाभात् पीताम्बरः तरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्टाति पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् परविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णाः परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने अज्ञानाञ्जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विभुशेखरभारती. हरिः ओम्. Thanks to the nice warm introductory words by Sangeeta ji, Bhagini Sangeeta. We'll continue from where we left yesterday. Acharya Shankara did Pranapratishta of Tripalidiyappa Swami. We normally refer to the Krishna as Krishna only, but here in local Kalidi, he very famously addressed as Tripalidiyappa Swami. So that Krishna is again Balagopala only. So Acharya also nicely remembers Krishna at the end of Prabodha Sudhakara. If you are all, if there are any particular Krishna Upasakas, not Vishnu Upasakas, Krishna Upasakas especially, you have to see the fondness for Acharya for Bhagavan Krishna, which is deliberated in the last portion of Prabodha Sudhakara, where Acharya also refers like Tripapatram Yasya Tripuradipuram Bhoja Vasatihi Tuta Janmoho Bhuta Charanaka Nirnaya Jana Jalam. This is a very famous slokam where Acharya refers to this Tripalidiyappa Swami and mentions Kuladevo Yadupatihi. So he refers as, this is my Kuladevata Krishna. Okay, so with that reference, Acharya entered the river of Purna, and we also saw the episode of crocodile catching hold of Acharya's legs, and Aryamba giving permission for Shankara to take up Sannyasa ashrama. Sannyasam has to be dealt with the required seriousness that it expects. In Bhagavatam, at the start of the Upadesham of Sukaswami to Parikshit Maharaja, there is a stotram called Sukastuti, in which Sukacharya mentions all the margams that we can attain Chitta Shuddhi. He starts by telling, Namo Namaste Trushabhaya Sattvatam Vidhurakashtaya Muhukku Yoginam Nirasta Samya Dusaye Naradhasa Swadhamani Brahmaniram Syate Namaha Yat Kirtanam Yadvandanam Yatsmaranam Yadaranam. Likewise, this is a very long slokam. Will not find time to utter the entire thing, but I wanted to give you the essence of it. Ultimately, every stanza refers to one margam in which we can attain Chitta Shuddhi. So it is Bhakti, the second stanza, and Karma in the third stanza, and the fourth stanza deals with Sannyasa. And in Sannyasa, while referring to the ashrama only, Sukacharya uses the word Vichakshanaha yat charanopasadhanate, meaning this is an ashrama that has to be dealt with a lot of care. It is one of the toughest ashramas. Only the selected, only the filtered ones can enter. That is why you see the Puranas, you see even recent history where Acharyas have had about Sannyasa ashrama to many bhaktas. You see they have reserved it for the people who have got what you call it, Vairagyam at its core. So we don't want people with maybe sannyasam, maybe grihasthashrama kind of people taking up sannyasashrama. It has to be dealt with utmost care. Otherwise, the respect for sannyasashram will go off. At the time of Adi Shankaracharya's Acharya's avatara, we'll have to understand the status of sannyasashrama, number one. It might take a couple of minutes, but we'll have to spend some time here. See, just after the advent of Buddha, Bhagavan Buddha, Bhagavatpada Acharya's avataram happened. And during the time of Buddha, Sannyasa Ashrama was given like this free books being offered in bus stands and railway stations. How they offer free pamphlets for everybody. That was how literally sannyasa was offered. Believe me or not. There were close to 16,000 sannyasis as sishyas and prasishyas of Buddha only. Everywhere they saw people shaving the head completely, wearing a kashaya vastram, Buddham charanam gacchami, Buddham charanam gacchami. This is how it was. And Buddhism spread like wildfire from Buddha Gaya to Bhutan, Burma, Singapore, even even Malaysia. In all these places, especially to China, Japan, and in the south to Sri Lanka, all these places became Buddhist nations. Even South India was not spared. We have vakyams by Trignyana Sambandhar in Tamil, like Buddharum, Samanarum, Puranuraikka, meaning the Buddhas and the Jainas opposed to the Vaidika Sampradaya. So they were all sannyasis. What will happen when you start seeing a lot of sannyasis wandering here and there? Naturally, what happens is anything that is available in abundance and in free will lose its respect. Will lose its respect. You go to any Mahatma, and if that Mahatma tells you, you expect him to give you a very difficult, tough sadhana to do. And at the end, he tells you, chant Ramanama. He will tell, what? Why is he even telling me this Ramanama, Rama, Rama, Rama? It is one of the easiest. I know, no, I've been chanting this right from my childhood. I wanted something tough. Just because it is available in abundance, it will not be appreciated. That too, the sannyasam that was projected by Buddhas was not Vedika also. So Acharya had one of the agendas in his Dharma Dipyajayam is what the Ashtotram, by now you would have referred. Mentally you should have referred that now. Sannyasa Shrama Uddhatre Namaha. This is a very famous archana in the Ashtotrama Bhagavatpada. Sannyasa Shrama Uddhatre Namaha. He now has this responsibility of giving the respect that is required to the sannyasa ashrama. So who else can show that other than himself? So he wanted to take it up by giving the due respect that it deserves and all those things, and also by uttering the Preshocharana mantra right in quality and actually taking sannyasa in Omkareshwar later. Accidentally, there are few slight anecdotes or incidences connected with this Preshocharana mantrocharana. There are many Advaita sannyasis in South India. One of the famed one is Shri Narayana Tirtha. If you are into Bhajana Sampradaya or Nama Sankirtana Sampradaya, there is a famous kriti called Gita Govindam, which is Attabadi and all. That is mainly from north. Okay, not exactly north. That is from Jagannatha Kshetra. In south, something very famous is Krishna Leela Tarangini. This was written by this Mahatma called Narayana Tirtha. This Narayana Tirtha, there is a very interesting incident in his life. He was married. Okay, he was basically from Andhra Pradesh. So when he was crossing the river Krishna, what happened was he got stuck in a whirlpool. He was not able to come to the other side. Immediately what he did was, since he was a great Vidwan, he uttered this Preshocharana mantram and took up Manasika Sannyasa. He thought this is going to give him another birth, and as he expected, he did not die in the whirlpool. He somehow escaped and came to the other side. So we see in many places Mahatmas taking up this upaya. The interesting part of the story is the moment he took up sannyasa, he should have left to an actual sannyasi, do sharanagati, take up ashrama svikara. Correct? The yoga pattam, kamandalu, danda, kashaya svikara. That was the procedure. But instead, what he did was, he came to his wife's house. Wife was there in her parents' house. He came there. For a moment, he might have thought that there is still time. Yes, just now uttered the mantra, correct? So he came to the house, or this is at least how this is how the story is recorded. He came and he was sitting at the entrance of the house. His father-in-law, mother-in-law, the moment they saw him, they received him, called him inside, made him sit in the chair, and went and told their daughter that your husband has come. Go ask what does he want, or give him some water or coffee or something. She came to the hallway and immediately ran inside the house. On enquiry, she told that he is no more my husband. I see him sitting there in Kashaya Vastram. I see him sitting there in Kashaya Vastram. Their parents were not able to believe. They told her, no, no, no. What is that you are telling? We just now saw him. You again go and see him. He again went and saw. She was again able to see her husband in Kashaya Vastropetam. Meaning he was wearing Kashaya. This is the sanctity of the mantra. That is what I wanted to convey. It is not that you have that mantram under your pillow at your old age, and so that when Yamadharmaraja comes all the way, you can take that mantram and chant and escape that. That is not the upayam here. That is not the upayam. It is something beyond that. So I wanted to understand the respect to be given to that mantra, or taking up manasika sannyasa and everything. The moment Shankara told or took up this manasika sannyasa and came out of the river, he came out and did Shatanga Namaskaras to Aryamba. And immediately Aryamba asked, hey Shankara, you are my only child. And you have now taken up sannyasa ashrama. There is nothing holding you back. There is nothing holding you back. You are a free bird. Gahana upar sej diya ki Ishwala milana hoi, Mirabai san. But Brahmavastu is something that is flying above the skies. Nobody can catch hold of it. Similarly, sannyasis, they talk to us, they converse with us, they bless us, but they are not bound by us. At that very moment, they can go inside undetached by any of the events discussed on that particular day. Nothing can touch them. Just like that, they go inside. But as human beings, we store everything, we process everything, and we lose our sleep over incidents. They would not get attached to that level. That is the sannyasa ashram. Immediately, Acharya told, this is a very critical juncture of his life. He just like that cannot abandon his mother and go away. At the same time, his responsibility is more wider. At that moment, he uttered a word to his mother by telling, hey Amba, let that be day or let that be night, or let that be any part of the day, let that be any season of the year. You think of me when you are about to live your life at your antima smaranam, I will appear in front of you. Again telling, just imagine, can another human being afford to tell this? We all depart from a function by telling, okay, let us meet again. That is only a hopeful word. If we meet again, It is a blessing. That's all. Otherwise, there can be no complaint. Whom will you complain to? A very friend of yours is no more. Who will you go and complain to? Somebody who is very young is no more. Who will you go and complain to? There cannot be any complaints about it. Life gives, life comes, and life goes. You can only be a witness to all of it. But being an avatara Purusha, he gives this word to his mother by telling, at the very moment of your Antima Swasa, when you think, I will be next to you. He utters these words, does Ashtanga Namaskara to Amba, again has darshan of this Bhagavan Balagopala. See, I particularly feel that the devotion towards this Balagopalan is what is making him take this sannyasa. I have done some basic research. Among the devotees of all devatas, the Krishna Bhaktas are the one who take up sannyasa mostly. I have a list of people, if you want, I'll tell you. Starting from Bhagavatpada Shankara, Sukacharya. Sukaba himself was a sannyasi only. Digambaram, Atra Vikirna Kesham. This is how Bhagavatam refers. He was a Digambara sannyasi, starting from Sukacharya. Then, in the same Parampara, we have Govinda Bhagavatpada, we have Govinda Bhagavatpada, we have Bhagavatpada. All are Krishna Bhaktas and all are sannyasis. Then, we have Madhusudana Saraswati Pada from West Bengal, who wrote Gudartha Deepika, Ananda Mandakini, who took up sannyasa. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who took up sannyasa. Ramanujacharya took up sannyasa. Madhvacharya took up sannyasa. Narayana Tirtha took up sannyasa. Bilva Mangalam took up sannyasa. The list goes on, believe me. They are all Naishtika Krishna Bhaktas, Ananya Krishna Bhaktas. In Bhagavatam, in Brahmara Geetam, in one of the slokas, the Gopikas talk to Uddhava by telling, hey Uddhava, I think you have newly joined this fellow's team. That is how Gopikas refer to Krishna. Don't mistake me. That is how they refer. This fellow, you have newly joined this fellow's team. Be very careful. He will remove your dress, give you a popina and a danda in your hand, and make you go on arms. That is what this fellow will do, because he is a child. I have a concept also built around it. This Balagopala is a child. Any child wants 100% attention. Grihasthashrami coming to Vedanta classes, one leg in Grihasthashrama, one leg in Vedanta. You attend any child half-mindedly, it will not succumb to you. It wants 100% attention from you. 100% attention in Vedanta is what is sannyasa. So this child wants 100% attention on it. That is why it removes your white vastram and gives you kashaya vastram. The swabhava of Krishna. This swabhava of Krishna. And this Acharya was also, he had some special love for Krishna. Though Acharya was not biased towards any devata, Shiva, Vishnu, towards all, but you can see Acharya's favoritism towards Krishna, at least from my perspective. But all you have to scold, somebody scold me. You cannot find this reference from any Mahatmas, any Pita. Nobody would accept it. It is personally my way of thinking. See, I'll tell you something. Other Devata Bhaktas are normally they are called Bhaktas. Krishna Bhaktas are called Bhagavatas. Other Devata Puranas are Linga Puranam, Padma Puranam, Vayu Puranam, Skanda Puranam. The Puranam about Krishna is called Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavat Sabdam is mostly repeatedly used for Krishna. Bhagavatam, Bhagavatas. Okay. Somebody told this to me. Okay. Then I thought this is their way of thinking. And accidentally it coincided with Acharya also. Acharya has written Devi Manasa Puja, Shiva Manasa Puja. Correct? What should have we written about Bhagavan? We should have written Vishnu Manasa Puja. It was called Bhagavan Manasa Puja. So again Acharya uses that Bhagavat Sabdam here. Again in Kashi we are going to see where Acharya is not going to forget Krishna. In the entire Bhagavad Gita you see the favoritism, or at the Amukam of Gita you see how Acharya describes Krishna Jananam. Even Sukacharya or Vyasa has not written so intense Krishna Jananam as Acharya has written in the Amukam of Gita version. So looking into all of this, Acharya was really, really, really loving that Balagopala, Trikaliti of the Swami from Kalati. So having uttered these words to his mother, he started this journey Just like Dhruva Swami left the house in the age of 5, Shankara left the house in the age of 8. In those days, there used to be a lot of yatrikas who keep to walk around the country. So I hope there could have been a group of yatrikas who would have started from Kalati towards north. Aryamba would have definitely asked them to take care of their child and asked them, wherever you go, take care of this child. Whatever you eat, you give this, you share with this child also. Likewise, the yatra would have started. I am just putting it to more and more relevance and practicality. That's all. I could have easily told he started his journey all alone till Omkareshwar. But just put yourself in the shoes of Aryamba and think. He should have definitely attempted to do something of this kind. Correct? It has to be practical. Only then your mind will accept it. Only then your mind will comprehend it. It has to be practical. So they started this yatra, and the beauty is, in some of the Shankara Vijayams, Acharya first time coming to Shringeri happens during this yatra from Kalati to Omkareshwar only. In some of the Shankara Vijayams. So my way of thinking is, I go by Madhaviya Shankara Vijayam only, but from other Shankara Vijayams, if there are anything interesting, and if it is not contradicting with Madhaviya Shankara Vijayam, then I used to consider them also. In one such case is this. Acharya walks all the way. His mind is totally drenched in sannyasa rasa. What is making him walk all the way from Kalati to Omkareshwar? What is making him taking this yatra? Because he is the deserving one. I remember this Upanishadiya Vakyam. एवं वै तमात्मानं विदित्वा ब्राह्मणः पुत्रैषणायाश्च वित्तेषणायाश्च लोकेषणायाश्च वित्ताय अथ भिक्षाचर्यं चरन्ति एतं वै तम् आत्मानं विदित्वा having known the self एवं वै तम् आत्मानं विदित्वा Brahmanaha. Here it means the knower of Brahman. Brahmanaha. They surpass. They go beyond. That is why you have this word Hithaya. Hithaya is having risen above or transcended or renounced. What did they renounce? Putreshanayaha, Vitteshanayaha, Lokeshanayaha. Desire for progeny, Putreshanayaha. Desire for wealth, Vitteshanayaha. Desire for other worlds, Paralokam, Sargalokam, not even Satyalokam. Abrahma Bhavanalokaha, Punaravartinorjuna, Bhavapedyata Kunteya, Punarjanma Navidyate. You go till Brahmaloka, you will have to be born again. Parantu, Bhavapedyata Kunteya, Punarjanma Navidyate. You take your refuge in me. Devi Kesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duradhyaya, Mameva ye prapadyante Maya Mesham Tarantite. Times Bhagavan utters in Gita, you take your refuge in me, you take your refuge in me, you take your refuge in me. What is taking their refuge in Krishna? Going beyond Putreshanayaha, going beyond Vitteshanayaha, going beyond Lokeshanayaha. How is it possible for them to go beyond all the three? It is because they have already experimented with it and found that they are not able to get the absolute Satyavastu in all these three aspects. Attaining Bhajani, attaining wealth, attaining the worlds is not the absolute by itself. It is not complete by itself. It is still incomplete. There is still this cessation of something yet has to be done after attaining any of these three. You go to Sargalokam, then after going there, what is to happen? There is nothing. There is again war. Again, they think of something more. For example, you buy a nice car. Probably for 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have a very good time with it. After a month, your mind will start wanting for something more than that. So anything that you attain, you have to you happen to have this cessation continuing to attain for something more than that. So that is where this Vithaya mean having rise and above. On that stage, what are they eligible for? Diksha Charyam Charanti. They can be sannyasis. Only then they become eligible for the sannyasashrama. Acharya Shankara was in the same margam listed here, continues his walk all the way from Kalati towards the northern part of Kerala and entered Karnataka Kshetra. And all the renunciates or the Bhagavatas or the Yatrikas who kept walking with him might have turned their journey towards another direction, or Shankara might have joined a new Yatrika team. That is how Yatras continue. And on the way, a lot of satsangam, a lot of discussions happen. Maybe fellow sannyasis talking to Acharya, Acharya talking to fellow sannyasis, and all of them together approach this Punya Kshetram in the theorem of Tunga, that is Sringagiri Kshetra. The moment Acharya entered Shringeri, one of the Shankara Vidayam, it tells that Acharya was immediately into trance. He was there sitting in Samadhi Sthiti, well settled down. He might have uttered to some fellow sannyasis, see, this place might be very suitable for sannyasis to live. This is how the sankalpam would have come. It should not be imagined as we get a sankalpam, they will also get a sankalpam. We getting a sankalpam is sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamatit prataha, krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohatil smriti vibramaha, smriti vibramat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. Plus, this is not how the sangam will come, but it is lokopakara chinta. This is a way which will suit you, sannyasi. Antasyago bhagistyagaha viraktasyaiva yudyate. Tyajan antar bahihi sangam viraktastu mumukshaya. Again, you don't have to refer anything regarding money insufficient for telling entire Acharya Charitra. Antastyago bhagistyagaha viraksasya yujyate. Viveka Chudamani, 373rd slokam. Acharya, even 374th slokam, they go with reference to sannyasasana. The 374th sloka is Bahirastu Vishayihi Angas Than Adihi. Acharya again writes, a man of dispassion, antastyagaha, dispassion, antastyagaha, bhagistyagaha, both he writes. A man of dispassion alone is fit for external and internal renunciation. Antastyagaha, bhagistyagaha. For out of his desire to be free. Okay. For out of his desire to be free or to be desire free, he readily renounces them. Only he was fixed his attention on Brahman and hence dispassionate. See, this is a point to be underlined. It is not a cynical nature of a guy should be sannyasa. See, people normally hate things. People suddenly come and tell, oh, I don't like anything at all. Better I take sannyasa. That is not the attitude. It is thorough inquiry. It is thorough inquiry that should lead you to sannyasa ashrama. So this what you call sannyasa, it should be with respect to attention on Brahman and he is hence dispassionate. And only he can renounce external attachment for objects and internal attachment to the ego. Viraktayeva shaknoti tyaktum brahmani nishtitaha. At your free time, refer to these slokas. Viveka Chudamani 373 and 374. It is not referring only. I will just let the tell refer. I request you to meditate upon these slokas. And only when you meditate upon this sloka, because these are all Jivana Granthas. It is not like a novel. See, Acharya is communicating to us through these slokas. The moment you read them and meditate upon them, you will hear Bhagavatpada's voice through Viveka Chudamani. You open Viveka Chudamani, the Shankara watch. There is no sense in worrying, telling I am parallel with Shankara. We are contemporary to Shankara only. Through Viveka Chudamani, through the Bhashyas, etc. So Acharya writes this by telling these are the people who are eligible for Sannyasa. So thinking all this, Acharya lived for a few days in Sringeri and he started his journey. And all the way from Sringeri, you see, even today when you start journey from Sringeri towards Mangalore, you see how dense the path is. Imagine in the days of Shankara, how denser it could have been. Pravrittaihi, Vachudunnadadvihi, Vachicha vriksha, Kirneknakaihi, Vyalam babarha baranair mayuraihi, Aneshu sangeetamiva pravrittam. They found dancing here and there, chirping here and there, resting on the branches of trees with the multi feathers swaying. The peacocks had a delightful celebration in the forest. I pulled this sloka from Valmiki Ramayana, where Rama and Sita enjoyed the forest in the Kvachit Pravrittaihi, Kvachit Unnadadvihi, Kvachit Vrikshabhyanishannayihi. They were see peacocks dancing. In some places, cuckoos chirping. In some places, birds were resting on the branches of the trees. All this Rama was showing to Sita. I just imagine the same scenic beauty Acharya would have also experienced on the way from Sringeri to North India. In all, throughout his journey, he crossed beyond the Tungabhadra. In some states, in Kerala only, he should have started Bharatapura, Purnamati, all these things. Kerala would have crossed. And actually, Tunga Snanam, Tunga Panam. That is what we did. Tunga is so nice. Okay, Tunga Panam. In Valmiki Ramayana, accidentally, there is a verse where the purity of the river is given. Valmiki Ramayana, Balakandam, 2nd chapter, 1st sloka. Akardamam idam tirtam Bharadwaja nisamaye Ramaniyam prasannahambu Sanmanishya manoyata. See the word used here to describe the purity of the water. When you go to Tunga Nadi and take Snanam, now kindly remember this sloka. Akardamam idam tirtam Bharadwaja nisamaye. Hey Bharadwaja, look at the purity of the river. How pure is this river? How crystal clear is this river? When we go to Sringeri Sandhya Mantapa for Anusthana, I used to remember. When we sit down on the Mantapam made of stone and look into the waters, we will be able to see the stones or the rocks deep inside the river. That is what this sloka was also telling. Ramaniyam prasannambuhu. How clear the water is. Hey Bharadwaja, how clear the sacred water is. See, this is bereft of dirt and moss. There is no dirt, there is no moss. It is like the pure mind of a noble person. San Manushya Manoyata. Who can even think of the Upama? You look into the mind of a noble person or a wise person, how clear and transparent it is. This water is similar to that. San Manushya Manoyata. That is the beauty. So Acharya, wherever he saw waters, he would have taken snana, performed the Sandhyavandana, performed the Samitadhana, then continued his yatra, again Sandhyavandana, again yatra, again Sandhyavandana. Likewise, he would have taken food on the way from deserving people and After a long walk for months, he reached the banks of the river Narmada. Though on the way, he would have noticed a lot of rivers, Narmada was something different. Even today, Narmada is something different. Acharya, the moment he went there and saw Narmada, has got a reputation to be one of the most fearful rivers. People fear Narmada. Even today, when you go there, even Omkareshwara Kshetram, people tell it flows with very great force. Locals tell that here Amma is very fearful, meaning she comes with a great force. When Shankara reached there, uh, it can be what you call it can be guessed that Narmada was already full, because we are going to now tell a story where Shankara is going to control the fearful Narmada. Accidentally, a couple of years ago, uh, when the government of Indore, when the government of Uttar Pradesh, they did the Silonveshanam. Uttar Pradesh, I guess. Silonveshanam of Adi Shankaracharya and in Omkareshwara Kshetram. Similarly, Narmada was very fearful. He was so fearful in nature. And they happened to postpone the event for a couple of weeks. We were all thinking Narmada Swabhava has not changed at all. Right from the days of Shankara till today, Narmada is so fearful in nature. So Acharya looked into the river of Narmada and understood this should be the Omkareshwara Kshetram. It can be understood and it can be guessed that you would have definitely had darshanam of Swami, Omkareshwara Swami there with Amba, and would have asked somebody, where can I find this Mahatma called Govinda Bhagavatpada Charya? Some local would have directed Shankara to the cave in which that great renunciate or a sannyasi would have lived. Bhagavatpada Charya, who was barely 8 years old, went there and stood and observed a lot of sannyasis there. They are all sadhakas. Some are ashrama sannyasis. Some are still brahmacharis getting trained for sannyasa ashrama. They are all given mantropadeshas and they are all doing akshara laksha japa. Some are taking up bhikshatanam and coming back with bhiksha. It means that it is a sannyasi sthalam where a lot of sannyasis are living. I remember the slokam from Aranyakanda from Ramayana. When Rama entered the hermitage of Dandakaranya, the following sloka comes. Pravishyatu Maharanyam Dandakaranyam Atmavanim Dadarsha Ramo Durdarsaha Tapa Ashrama Mandalam. There was a series of ashramas there. Tapa Ashrama Mandalam. There Rama saw a lot of rishis doing all sorts of sadhanas. Similarly, the Bhalashankara also recognized all the sadhakas. And they all inquired this child and also got informed that he has come all the way in search of their guru, their Kutastha Purusha, who is Govinda Bhagavatpada Charya. And they directed the child towards Govinda Bhagavatpada. How was Govinda Bhagavatpada there? Drishtis Stira Yeste Vina Sadrishyam. That is how Mahatmas have to be described. They will not have chalanam in their eyes. You look into the old photos of Jagadguru Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswami or Abhinav Vidyakirpa sitting on Nirvikupa Samadhi. Drishtis Ira. It will be one pointed focus. One pointed focus. In one of the articles, Bhashya Swami had written in Guru Kripa Vilasam. In one of the days when Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswami used to give darshan, there will be no crowd at all. Acharya would wait to bless people, but there will be no crowd. On one side, it will be Anandabharati Swami Hill, and on the other side it used to be Bhashya Swami Hill. Nobody in front. And Bhashya Swami used to nicely write, the dam was open, but nobody came to take bath. The dam was overflowing with compassion. But we were blessed to be in the Sannivesa and experience the bliss. There was no Upadesham required. That very Sannidhana Visesham is enough. Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya was sitting in a cave. Acharya was sitting outside the cave, and that very Sannidhi was transforming the Upadesha from the heart of Govinda Bhagavatpada to Bala Shankara. What would have Acharya felt? The Advaitic teaching that was found in the Upanishads. Ardram Jwalanti Jyotirahavasim Jyotir Jwalati Brahmahavasmi Yohamasmi Brahmahavasmi Ahamasmi Brahmahavasmi Ahamevaham Mam Juho Viswaha. To ponder upon these Upanishadic statements. What else do you want? Where are we running in life rather than pondering upon such statements? Ardram Jalati Jyotirahavasim gently shines. See, Ardram Jalati, meaning it gently shines forth. What? The flame called I. I am. I-ness. Jyotirahavasim. Jyotir Jwalati Brahmahavasmi. The light shines forth. Brahmahavasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Yohamasmi Brahmahavasmi. I alone am. Brahman alone am I. Ahamasmi Brahmahavasmi. Ahamevaham Mam Juho Niswaha. I am that I am. I offer myself in the fire of awareness. I have come to meet my Guru, which is my awareness alone that is shining outside. Me coming and doing Sharanagati or taking refuge in my Guru is Ahame Vaham Mam Juho Niswaha. It is just like a doll that is made up of salt going for Samudra Snanam. There it ends. You going and meeting your Guru and you being yourself and Guru being himself is not what we are telling him. That is not is the story here. This is Shankara coming to his Guru is like a river coming to the ocean. That should be the attitude with what you have to listen to the story. It is not some Sishya, a Dvaita Sishya, or with a Dvaita Bhava going to his Guru and telling, I want this and that and coming back. That is the normal, mamul thing that we see in the world. Don't have that in mind. Why I caution you is that is how we normally think. There is no mistake in that. But I wanted to elevate you. That's all. The thought elevation is, the attitude is this river, Akashat Patitam Toyam Yata Gacchati Sagaram. Similarly, this Kaveri or Narmada, which has started somewhere, has now approached the Samudra. Now, when it approaches the Samudra, what happens? Normally, when you look from the outside, you feel river Kaveri ends here. That is what when you go to Ganga Sagar in West Bengal, people normally tell this is where Ganga ends. No. It is not ending. It is expansion. Ganga has expanded into the ocean. Now, Ganga was a small river. Now, Ganga is everywhere. Now, when you come and do surrender in front of a Guru, and if you are a qualified disciple, you cannot go back. You don't think of going back. You cannot go back. That is why I gave you an example. A doll made up of salt coming for Samudra Snanam. There is no going back from there. That is why we repeatedly used to tell, before you search for a Guru, become a disciple first. The point is you becoming a disciple. There is no point in searching for a guru at all. The guru is readily available. He can incarnate from anything. He can come out from anything, just like Nrsimha came out of Stambha for Prahlada. What does that mean? What does it mean? Everything around you has got the potential. It is Brahman alone. The moment you are ready, he will manifest from anything. You will not believe from where you might get the Upadesha. Don't get dramatized by thinking a guru sitting under a tree waiting like this to do Upadesha. That is all dramatized. He can talk from anywhere. He can come in any form. Anything around you, you will understand it is your Guru Surupa only. He will cross ocean for you. If you are somewhere beyond the ocean, he'll come there. He'll talk to you. The point is, are you a disciple is the question. Now, how do you answer this question? Have you opened up to receive the Upadesha? Have you opened up? I'll jokingly tell you one thing, purely for the sake of joke. We used to do Bhagavata Saptaha. In the Saptaham, the story starts like this. Parikshit Maharaja, whose death was defined, he is going to end his life, or is going to see his end of his body at the end of 7 days. Only 7 days is got. On the 7th day, Parikshit is going to attain moksha. Everybody knows this. I personally know people who don't come for the 7th day Upanyas. Because they were afraid, just like Parikshit Maharaja will go to moksha. This is the point I tried to mention. We have still not opened up for moksha at all. Are you ready? Are you ready? I went to my guru and I asked him, I wanted to study Sridhariya Vyakhyanam for Bhagavatam. He immediately asked me a question. Are you fully available? Till this moment, I don't have an answer to that question. I keep pondering upon this question. Are you fully available? I am not available. Which means I have other priorities in life. Till this moment, I have other priorities. If you have other priorities, you are not ready. Have you opened up? You can nicely chant slokas like Jivan Muktananda Lagari, Vivek Chodamani, everything. Are you ready? This moment, are you ready? Which means this moksham should be the primary objective of your life. If the answer is yes, you are ready, you are a disciple. If you have 120 other agendas or objectives, and 121 is moksham, that is where all these slokas will come into effect. Aneka janma samsiddhas tato yati parangatim. See, all this 120 have to go out, right? And only the 121 will come. If this is number 1, you are ready. If this is number 1, what will be the Guru Sishya Sambandham? Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. You offer yourself to your Guru. Then what remains? Only Guru remains. Disciple will not remain. Shankara going and meeting Govinda Bhagavatpada, only Govinda Bhagavatpada remained. Both cannot remain. See, this is very conceptual. I don't know how you visualize this. Only one can remain. Both cannot remain. If both can remain, there is no Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havi, Brahma Agno, Brahmana Ahutam, Brahma Ivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma. It is not. If both are going to remain, there is no Sharanagati at all. Sharanagati is one expanding into the other. This is what is Advaitic Sharanagati. Other people belonging to other sampradayas who define Sharanagati from a different perspective, don't scold me. This is how Advaita is defined Sharanagati. This is our Sharanagati. You expanding into the other. Acharya is all the way come here to do this Sharanagati only. Govinda Bhagavatpada was seen there sitting. He Bhagavatpada joined his palms and uttered Sarva Vedanta Siddhante Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Again, Viveka Chudamani, first slogan. Where else should I go? Everything Acharya was only given. Looking into the intrinsic nature of this boy, that Govinda Bhagavatpada, who was in permanent maunam, uttered the following words. Kastvam Bala. Hey Bala, Kastvam Kahatvam. Who are you? Normally, this is something that Mahatmas ask. What do we expect Shankara to do? Abhi then Pravara Gotra, everything. Shankara Nama Asmi Bho. Acharya would have done this to any other person. Maybe to the elders in the family, elders in the village, elders in the district, maybe some Mahatmas he saw on the way. To all these people, he would have reacted this way. But to Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya, who is Ananya Guru, who is none other than the Atman which is inside him, Acharya was not able to have this Dvaita Bhavam and tell, I am Shankara, I am from Kalati, my father's name is Shiva Guru. None of this came. Then what else came? Acharya immediately uttered, Na bhumir, na toyam, na tejo, na vayur, na kamne driyam va, na tesham samuhaha. Anaikantikatva sushupyeka siddhastadeko vasishta shiva kevaloham. Navarna shramachara dharma name dharana dhyana yoga dayopi. Anatma Shrayagam Mamadhya Sanhana Tadeko Vasishta Shiva Kevaloham. Na Mata Pitava Na Deva Na Loka Na Veda Na Yajna Na Tirtham Bhuvanti. Sushuptau Nirastadi Sunyatmakatvat Tadeko Vasishta Shiva Kevaloham. Na Sankyam Na Shivam Na Tatpancharatram Na Jainam Na Mimam Sakader Matamba. विशिष्टानुभूत्या विशुद्धात्मकत्वात् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न भूमिर्न तोयं न तेजो न वायुः. He is slowly negating all the attachments a jiva might gradually have with the body, mind, complex or bundle. Na bhumihi, na tejaha, na vayuhu, na kham, na indriyam va, na tesham samohaha. Prithvi, apaha, tejaha, vayuhu, akasaha, no ham. Then it means I'm not the body. If you are trying to tell you don't belong to the Panchabhuta group, body is made up of this Panchabhuta group. Anekantikatvat, sushupte kasiddhaha, tadekaha, avasishtaha. I am the one which is left out. I am the one that remains. After everything getting settled down, I am the one that remains. If you feel that you are not able to relate to this, Acharya gives you an example. Sushupte kasiddhaha. In your deep sleep, what remains? You feel we all enjoy something in life. You all enjoy. You all can, if I ask you, if I now open comments box and ask you to type what you love. Yeah? Just imagine the list I'm going to make. We have 303 people. If I tell 3 wishes per people, I'll get 909. This very same moment. Correct? But I'll give you one example. If you happen to love, let me just go with an example. You love a song. Any song that you love, have that in mind. Just think of for the Pancharatna treatise, the 5th song that is on Sri Ragam. Sri Ragam. Okay. Entaro Mahanubhavu. I sing this song once. You immediately think, oh, wow, this is one of my favorite songs. You'll hear. I'll complete the song. Immediately after completion, I restart the song again. Will you listen? Probably one more time you'll listen because you have some compassion towards me. See, this fellow I know for some time. So let me hear it. Third time I start the same. Slowly, some 120 immediately switch off their camera and the count will come down. Fourth time I sing, he will block me permanently and write an email to the authorities telling them don't entertain this fellow. Fifth time I will not be here, you will not be here. This is all your love. This is your love. Believe me, this is your love. You see this with reference to anything. You may love a dish to eat. 2 consecutive days I do it. On the third day, you will have this fear. Will I happen to eat the same again? This is how you love things in the world. But all of us here, when ask a question to ourselves, we go to sleep on a daily basis. We go to sleep. Has anybody felt your sleeping process to be bored? It can be on a train, it can be on a yatra, it can be sitting, it can be standing. You might be in a hospital, you might be bystander for somebody in hospital. When that time comes, you wanted to settle down to sleep. Nobody hates sleep. The arrangement you see, buying a nice bed, buying a nice pillow, arranging things very nice. In fact, putting all those nets for mosquito if required. Right from 8:30 only, people will start arranging, closing all windows, putting light. The setup on a daily basis. If you happen to live for 100 years, for all the 100 years we repeat this, but you will never get bored because that is you. You will never be bored for yourself. That is the point where you are you. In Sushupti, that is the point where you are you. Anything else you add, you will feel bored. You will never be bored to you. You will never hate yourself. You are the most lovable person for yourself. The same way, when you wake up in the morning, what will be the first thought? On an average, I'll tell you, you will all agree. The first thought that comes to mind is, maybe for a fraction, this will pop up and end. You will have a sankalpam. When can I again get back to sleep? If you're working somewhere and you have to travel somewhere now for 1.5 hours, when you have to get up at 4:30, you will tell to yourself, I will now get up, get ready. On the way to work, I can again sleep. If you are a housewife, you will get up. You have to get ready with the children and the husband and sending all off to office and college and school, you can again go to sleep. This samadhanam is what making you wake up. Now, let us just ponder on a point for a moment. All that you have achieved in Jagrata Avastha, you have taken up a degree, you have married, you've got children or you've got grandchildren, you own a flat, you own an apartment, you own a car, you have grandchildren, everybody. But the point is, when you are free from all of this, that is where you wanted to be. The moment you wake up, it is of course going to be happiness. I'm not talking from a cynical point of mind. But when compared to the anandam that is there in the Sushupti, in Jagrata Avastha, anandam is not even 1/10 of it. I hope all agrees. So whatever you are trying to accumulate, you wanted to get rid of them to be happy. You are not as happy with them when compared to the state where you are devoid of them. Now just imagine accumulating his wealth or sacrificing his wealth. You think sannyasis have done a great sacrifice in sitting there. You are the sacrificer. They have not sacrificed at all. Believe me, you are sacrificing your own happiness for the world. You are the sacrificer. The moment you earn a degree, the moment you become something, that urge to become something, you are sacrificing your own happiness. They are not sacrificing at all. They are just existing as they are. You are wondering at them. They are wondering at you. Oh, you look at this fellow. He's accumulated so much over the years. He's got a golden chain, he's got a golden earring, he's got a golden ring. Imagine, no, this is all responsibility. The moment you remove them, you will feel what happiness is. The moment you remove all them and sit alas, no, that is when you will feel that it is the vice versa. You feel they have sacrificed. You are the one you have sacrificed. They have not accumulated at all. So this is the actual wealth that Acharya is referring here by telling अनेकान्तिकत्वात् सुषुप्त्यैकसिद्धस्तदेकः अवशिष्टः शिवः केवलम् अहम् केवलोऽहम्. And what else is the attachment? We normally get attached to the Varna Dharma, Jati Dharma, Navarna, Navarna, Shramachara Dharma, Name Dharana, Dhyana Yoga, Dayogi. Anatmashrayaham mamadhya sahana tadepo vasishtaha shiva kevaloham. The happiness that you get with dharana, dhyana, samadhi are all limited. It is confined happiness. You enter into the yoga sthiti, you have to wake up. You have to come out. So that is all limited. Anatmashrayaham. But my happiness is not dependent on anything. Mamadhya sahanat tadepo vasishtaha shiva kevaloham. I am not a mother. I am not a father. I am not God. I am not the world. I am not the Vedas. I am not the Yajnas. I am not the Tirthas. Na mata pita va na veda na lok na veda na yajna na tirtham bruvanti. Sushuptau nirastadi shunyatmakatvat tadeko vasishta shiva kevaloham. Just imagine the happiness Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya would have had. Huh? We all saw the happiness that Mahasanidhanam had when he looks at Sanidhanam, right? We have seen this in front of the eyes. Most of the talks in Mahasanidhanam used to deliver, he used to tell, it is our great fortune that we have got Sanidhanam. Acharya told our great fortune, not he didn't tell your great fortune. I'm verbatim producing the word. It is our fortune, which means he feels very happy. From this, I am deducing, or extending this, Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya would have felt the same when he looked at Bhagavatpada Acharya or the Bala Shankara. Who was Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya? So Shankara is with Sharanagati. Why did he go to this Guru? We'll have to tell those reasons. I mean, this is the instance where we have to tell. Because the Upanishads also declare Parikshalokan, Karmachitan, Brahmano, Nirvedamayan, Yasakhat Kritena, Tat Vijnanartham Sagurumeva Bhigachet, Samikpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Parikshalokan, Karmachitan, having examined the world, having performed the karmas, having attained the phala, and having understood that they all are only able to give us limited karma. Pariksha lokane, karmachitane, brahmanaha nirvedamaya. They get depressed, they get frustrated by thinking this is all limited. They go in search for something infinite. From Kuntam, they are in search of Vaikuntam. And for that Vijnanam, for that Anubhavam, you have to underline it. That Vijnanartham. If the Upanishads declare it this way, don't have your guru for any other purpose. That Vijnanartham Swaguruhu, meaning he is there to give you the Upanishadiya Jnanam. That is Vijnana. If you are not able to utilize him for this purpose, or if you cannot benefit out of this anugraham, only then you start using him for something else. Just because he is helping you with something else, it doesn't mean he is there for giving you every worldly pleasure. You have to understand this. I'll give you a nice example that I usually repeat in my classes. In some of the cases, what happens in a house, you see, there will be a screw that will be stuck in the wall. To remove it, you need a screwdriver or a spanner. Okay. If the spanner is not available or a screwdriver is not available, what people do is they try and remove that with the help of a knife. Have you ever seen this? I don't know. They use a knife to remove because that is all that is available in the house. Screwdriver or spanner, they have lost or it has to be searched. So they use a knife. Somebody who saw this came to the conclusion that knife's primary purpose is to remove the screw out of the wall. Now, whose mistake is this? The primary purpose of knife is not this. Just because you don't know what it is used for, you are using it for this. It doesn't mean its purpose is that. Similarly, you are using your guru for something else. But that doesn't mean he is here for that. He is here for that vijnanartham sa gurumeva abhigachet. Don't go empty-handed. Take a summit with you. Take a twig with you. Samit pani. Shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. What does it symbolize? Samit pani. Just like a summit is readily available to catch fire. Similarly, I have burnt my worldly desires. I am ready for the teaching. I need not be prepared. I am ready. Samitpanihi Shrotriyam. The Guru has to be a person who has to be a Shastrajna. He should have studied the Vedas. He should have understood the essence of the Vedas. And he should be established in the teachings of Vedas. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Shrotriyaha Avrajinaha Akamahataha Yaha Brahmavittamaha Brahmani Uparatashantaha Nirindhanaivanalaha Ahetukadaya Sindhuhu Bandhuhu Anamataham Satam. Viveka Chudamani, 33rd slokam. Shrotriyo Avrajino Kamahato Yaha Brahmavittamaha. Acharya by himself is registering what he saw in Govinda Bhagavatpada. How else can you interpret this slogan? He is just registering what he saw in Shrotriyaha, one who is well versed in the Vedas. Avrajinaha, who is sinless. Akamahataha, who is not touched by desires. Akamahataha yaha brahmavittamaha, one who is a knower of Brahman par excellence. Brahmavittamaha brahmani uparataha shantaha, one who is calm. Nirindhanaivanalaha. So how are you going to understand this? I don't know. Because I'm not parallelly able to find words to describe. How will you describe this? Nirindhanaivanalaha. You can only feel this. I'll try and articulate it to the best of my ability, but I already know I'm going to fail. Okay. Nirindhanaivanalaha is like fire that has consumed its fuel. Is like fire, is existing like fire, which has consumed its fuel. Which means, what is our fuel? You are sitting here, you are existing inside a body, you are able to feel yourself, you are able to feel the world, everything. Now, what is the fuel behind you? No car will run without a fuel. No flight would fly without a fuel. Similarly, no human body will exist without fuel. The fuel is prarabdha. Prarabdha is what is giving you all these parts. It is what is fueling you. Here, when you mean he has consumed his fuel, which means he has burnt his past karma, he has burnt its prarabdha karma, he has burnt his agami karma. He has consumed the fuel. Jnanagni dagdha karmani, as Bhagavan tells in Gita, he has consumed it. Ahetuka daya sindhu. Then the question comes, if the fuel is burnt, why is he continuing to exist? You are pondering upon this question, no? Why is he still continuing to exist? When he has consumed this fuel, the answer is very simple: to bless you. You are pondering upon this question, no? Why is he still continuing to live? Only answer is he is continuing to be in the body only to bless you. Ahetuka daya sindhu. Who is he to bless you? Bandhuhu. He is your only relative. Believe me, he is your only relative. There are no relatives to you. Atma bandhuhu sa eva. All others are sharira bandhu. He is your true relative. Ahetuka daya sindhuhu. Bandhuhu. Anamatam satam. And a friend of all good people who prostrate themselves before him. Bandhuhu anamatam satam. He is your friend. He is literally your friend. In Ramayanam, Rama has uttered these following words. Mitra bhavena sampraptam natyajayam katanchana dosho yadyapi tasya syat. So powerful it is. You go approach God. Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti. So here I'm using Ishvara and Guru as paryayas. I'm using them, one replacing the other. That is why I referred to shloka from Ramayana. Rama is generally referred as Guru in many places. Ayodhya Kanda, when Bharata does Sharanagati, Rama is referred as Guru only. The other said Guru. Iti. So Rama being a Guru here utters this shloka in Ayodhya Kanda by telling he can be anyone who has committed huge sins. That is also fine. Mitra bhavena sampraptam natyajayam. The moment he comes to me with a friendly attitude, I'll never leave him. Mitra bhavena sampraptam natyajayam. Meaning I'll never leave him. Natyajayam kathanchane. What if he has got a lot of sins accumulated? Dosho yadyapi tasya syat. Doshaha yadyapi. Let him be with sins. I don't care. It doesn't mean he doesn't care. The following slokas he is going to tell, even in Bhagavad Gita, Chipram bhavati dharmatma. He is now going to burn all those sins because he has come all the way to me. So here Acharya lists as one of the gunas of the Guru that he is your friend. Bandhu anamatam satam. This is what Acharya saw in Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya, and thankfully he has recorded it immediately. What else is to be told? Shankara has expanded into Govinda Bhagavatpada. Sannyasa ashrama was given. Ashrama swikaram is happening only now. Kashaya danda yoga patta swikaram. Everything happened kramena in the banks of river Narmada. Just like how it happened for our Sannidhanam in the banks of river Tungabhadra. For Shankara, it happened in the banks of the river Narmada. Shankara Bhagavatpada Acharya. This was the yoga pattam given. Bhagavatpada, or we used to call him Adi Shankaracharya or Shankaracharya or Shankara. All this refers to him. And now, for a few years, it was Guru Upasati. It was Guru Kankari. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. As recommended in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Acharya started to do Guru Upasati, Guru Kainkarya. It can be understood or inferred from the Charitram that from the age of 8.5 till 12, Acharya was with Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya in Omkareshwara Kshetra. Guru Upasati, meaning Guru Kainkarya. It should not be understood that only listening to Patham is the primary reason you are with the Guru. You have to help him with every chores possible. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena. You have to worship your Guru. How did I use this word worship here? Because Bhagavan has used it in Bhagavad Gita. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantirarjavam, acharyopasanam. Acharya upasanam. Ityuktam. Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 8th sloka, if I'm correct. From 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 slokas, Bhagavan concludes by telling, Etat dharma vidhi proktam. This is what is dharmam. Bhagavan concludes. So, this is Bhagavan's heart, where he recommends, do upasana of your Guru. You have to do upasana of your Guru. Shankara does it. One day, when Narmada was very furious or ferocious in nature, it is told that Shankara controlled the force of Narmada in his kamandalu, inside his kamandalu. This is all yoga prabha. This is all the yoga prabhas. As devotees, we can enjoy it. That's all. When it comes to yoga sthiti of our acharya, you can stand back and enjoy it. It is not something that you have to have as your goal and try achieving that. Our goal is only in one aspect, in the Upadeshas of Shankara. It is only in the Upadesha. Not focusing on anything that he had inbuilt in him. So Acharya had yoga sthiti. Today also work out on Ashtama Siddhi, Ahima, Mahima, Lahima, Garima, all this is there. Becoming totally weightless, gaining sudden weight, all this is yoga sthiti. We are not focused on it. Acharya exhibited it for the sake of Leela. That's all. After doing Guru Upasati for 3 long years, Acharya serving his Guru, having learned the essence of Prasthanatraya from his Guru, Guru Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya also gave a command to Shankara that the entire Sanatana Dharma is sustaining itself on the basis of Prasthanatraya. That is Brahma Sutras written by Maharishi Badarayana, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. You will have to comment on these 3, where you bring out the intended meaning of the Grantakartas, the intended meaning of Vyasacharya, the intended meaning of Vyasacharya while writing Gita and Sutra, and the intended meaning behind the Upanishads without forcing a meaning from outside. That is why you see, when you read the Bhashyam, you will see that flow. Acharya has never intended to forcefully give a meaning to a slokam. He just goes with the flow. Probably tomorrow when Acharya writes the Bhashyam, we will spend some more time on some parts of Bhashyam also. So Acharya has been given the command to do so. And it so happened that Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya attained Mahasamadhi there in Omkareshwara Kshetram only. Guru's body will only disappear. Guru is a sarvavyapaka vastu. He is present everywhere. He cannot just like that disappear. He cannot disappear. How can a sarvavyapaka vastu can disappear? From where can he disappear? It is impossible. So he just blessed and just like that gave away his mortal coil, or the Panchabhautika Sharira. Having having performed the kainkariam for his guru for 3 long years, Acharya started his journey again from Omkareswara Kshetram, from Narmada River towards the religious headquarters of this country, that is Kashi. Delhi will be the political headquarters of this country, but Kashi is the religious headquarters of this country. We should never forget it. That is our headquarters. Okay, Vishwanatha is the king. That is where we belong to. So immediately he proceeded. The next destination was Mission Kashi. Acharya started towards Kashi. By now, few other devotees and disciples of Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya saw that this avichinna parampara that came down all the way from Sadashiva, Narayana, Brahma, down till Govinda Bhagavatpada Acharya is now propagating in this world through Shankara Bhagavatpada Acharya. They all understood he is our Margadarishi. So they all started following this young sannyasi who is only 12 years old, who is followed by sannyasis who are like 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. A Bala sannyasi leading the yatra. Just envision it. Acharya started to walk towards Kashi. He came running towards Kashi. I cannot stop by telling he walked towards. He came running towards Kashi. That you have to understand the love that Acharya had for Kashi. Acharya understood that this is the kshetram where the devatas are still prevalent, still existing. Till this very moment, Parameshwara is there. You have to read a book called Gospel of Ramakrishna, in which Ramakrishna explains the vision he had in Kashi. He traveled in Kashi on a boat on the Ganges. He happened to come near the ghat where all the bodies are getting burnt. And Ramakrishna had this vision that every soul was picked by Parameshwara, kept in his lap. Yathavarna yattarna mulanta kale Shivo Rama Rameti Rameti Kashyam Tadekam Param Taraka Brahma Rupam Bhajeham 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 Bhajeham. This story is told, this Varnana is told in Kashi Mahatmyam, in Skanda Puranam. Ramakrishna has envisioned it. Bhagavatpada Acharya and Rama Bhujanga Prayagam explains it. Yatha Varna Yat Karna Mulantakale. Let that be anything. Let it be cow, let that be donkey, let that be an ant, let that be a human being. You happen to lead your life in Kashi. It is Parameshwara who is picking you up, giving the Karna Mantra Upadesa in your ears, Rama, 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 and he is sending you. If you think this is a story, it is up to you. But Acharya will not exaggerate things. If he writes, it is Yathartha Vishayam only. If you have to believe in compassion, Anugraham, you have to completely believe. Partial belief will take you nowhere. You believe in the compassion of Bhagavan, right? 100% have that belief. All Mahatmas have told you that is the potency of Varanasi. It is not yet another village or yet another city that we think. Acharya enters into Varanasi. The king of Kashi, who heard about this Bala Sannyasi who is approaching Kashi, came all the way running against Acharya. He came with Purna Kumbha, with a nice golden palanquin, with an elephant, offering all to this Bala Sannyasi and told that these are all yours. The entire city is yours. Me along with my family is yours. We are at your orders. Acharya told, how can a sannyasi even accept any of this? I am on my legs. If at all I need some rest, I will sit under a tree. If at all I need some food, I will go begging. What is this? Mohamudra Stotram. If I need rest, I will sleep under the tree. So leave me free. I don't want any of your help. I wanted to enjoy Kashi. I wanted to be one with Kashi. Kashi Dhanyatama Vimukta Nagari Salankrita Gangaya Tatreyam Manikarnika Sukhakari Bhaktirhi Tatkinkari Swarlokastulitas Sahaiva Vibhudaihi Kasya Samam Brahmana Kashi Kshonitale Stita Gurutara Swargo Labhutvam Gataha Kashi Dhanyatama Vimukta Nagari Salankrita Gangaya. Manikarnikashtakam, third sloka. Blessed more than heaven. See how he puts it in a very profound way. Blessed, this Kashi is more than the heavens. It is shining here on this earth. Dhanyatama Vimukta Nagari Salankrita Gangaya. Salankrita Gangaya. This Kashi is moreover ornamented by Ganga. And with its pleasant Manikarnika, there, see, we'll focus on this. None of this is exaggeration. Don't consider this to be exaggeration. Stotram. These are all facts. If you believe, this is a fact. Acharya writes, this Kashi is ornamented by Ganga, and with this pleasant Manikarnika, there liberation seeks you, approaches you. Liberation is moksham. Moksham will come and approach you like a serving maid. And paradise becomes insignificant here. Whatever be the paradise, let it be Swarga Bhoga. Bhuhu, Bhavaha, Suvaha, Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, all these lokas will succumb in front of the beauty of Kashi. Swarge lokas tulitas sahaiva vibhudaihi kasya samam brahmana sukakari muktirhi tatkinkari. Muktirhi tatkinkari. Kasyam hi kasare Kashi. Kashi sarva prakashika. Sa Kashi viditara yena tena prapta hi Kashika. Kasyam hi kashate Kashi. The effulgence of the self, prakashate, shines forth in this effulgent Kashi. This Kashi is the Atman that shines inside. Kashi is the one that is all illumining. Only those awakened to the glory of that luminous one will be able to reach this Kashi. Kasyam hi kashate Kashi. Kashi sarva prakashika. Kashi sarva prakashika. Which means Kashi is Atma. If Atma can personify like a city, it is Kashi. How happy he should have felt. Just imagine, man. Acharya sitting in the banks of the river Ganga. Just like that, sitting in the river Ganga and maybe taking bath in Ganga. Bhagavati tavati re Niramatra sanoham. Just imagine. He is praying to Kashi. Vigata Vishaya Krishna Krishna Maradhayami. I wanted to conclude with this point. That is why I told Acharya's fondness for Krishna. The moment he gets out of Ganga, he'll be able to see Vishwanatha Kshetram, correct? Or Annapurna Kshetram. Kalabhairava Kshetram, correct? All these are there in front of him. And the Kshetra is also famed for Ramanama. Vishwanatha Upadesa, he gives Upadesa, Ramanama Upadesa for all. Just now I told you the sloka also. Leaving all this, all the way Shankara's mind is coming back to Trikaladi Swami. See, Vigata Vishaya Krishna Maradhayami. I'm going to leave off everything. First of all, he claims he's going to leave everything. Please define, any one of you, please define me. What does he have to leave? How do you explain this verse? Vigata Vishaya Krishna. I'm going to leave all the Vishaya Krishnas and I'm going to stay in Kashi. What does he have to leave? What has he accumulated to leave? The one Vyakhyana that you can supply here is that Dikshatanam that he is doing now, he is planning to leave that also. Meaning, he is trying to tell this Ganga Jalam is enough for me. I'll survive on this Ganga water alone. I don't even want any food. Vigata Vishaya Krishna Krishna Maradhayami. Tarala Tara Tarange Devi Gange Praside Tarala Tara Tarange Sarga Sopana Sange. She comes all the way from Sargalokam. He starts from Satyalokam, then touches the Saptarishi Mandalam, Dhruva Swami's plane, then comes to Sargapuri. In the Saptarishi Mandalam, it is called Vishnupati. It is called Vishnupati. Okay, and then comes to Sargaloka. From Sargaloka, for the sake of Bhagiratha, she comes all the way to Bhumi. Adau Adi Pitamahasya Niyamo Vyapara Patre Jalam Bhuyat Pannakasayino Bhagavatah Padodakam Pavanam Bhuyashambhujata Vibhushana Manirjanuhor Maharshediyam Kanyam Kalmashaharini Bhagavatim Padodakam Pavanam. In one slokam, entire Ganga Avataranam Acharya is given. Vamana Bhagavan did, what did he do? He lifted his left leg. Vamapadangushta Nakanibbinnodhvanta Kataga. In Bhagavatam, it is given. Vamapadangushta. He lifted his left leg. Brahma did puja to it. Adau Adi Pitamahasya Niyamo Vyapara Patre Jalam. Adi Pitamaha, meaning the first grandfather of the world. Adi Pitamaha, the most elderly grandfather is Brahma. Tasya Kamandala Jala. Adau Adi Pitamahasya Niyamam Vyapara Patre Jalam. Bhuyat Pannakasayino Bhagavati Padodakam Pathumam. Let the Ganga bless us. Acharya is so happy in the banks of the river Ganga. Let Acharya be there for today. Tomorrow we are going to disturb Acharya. Tomorrow we'll start with Manisha Panchakam. And then from Kashi, Acharya is going to travel all the way to Kedarnath tomorrow. So tomorrow will be Himabhumi Yatra. Full of Himalayas Yatra. Acharya, how he stayed, how he went on Yatra, everything will be detailed with the grace of Bhagavan and Guru tomorrow. Till then, I'll take your leave. We'll join tomorrow's session. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva Sadguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Yom Takpradeshya Mamavacham Imam Prasuktam Sanjeevayate Kila Shaktidhara Swadamina Anyamscha Hastacharana Shravanat Pradadin Pranhanamo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Vamsi Vibhushitakaran Navaneeradhabhat Pitambara Tarunabimba Paladaro Purnendu Sundara Mukha Taravindanetrate Krishna Param Kimapi Tattvamaham Najane Kripapatram Yasya Prabhudariparam Bhojavasatihi Sutajanbhu Puta Charananakanirne Janadalam Pradhanam Vas Yasya Prabhuvanapatitvam Vibhurapi Nidanam Swasmakam जयति कुलदेवो यदुपतिः वेदान्तार्थविभाषकाय यतये शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रशङ्खपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभितां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने अज्ञानाञ्जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं धीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीम्। हरिः ॐ। काशीक्षेत्रं पवित्रं काशीक्षेत्रं शरीरं त्रिभुवनजननी व्यापिनी ज्ञानगङ्गा भक्तिश्रद्धा गयेयं निजगुरुचरणध्यानयोगः प्रयागः विश्वेशोऽयं तुरीयः सकलजनमनस्साक्षिभूतोऽन्तरात्मा देहे सर्वं मदीये यदि वसति पुनः स्थितमन्यत् किमस्ति। काशी क्षेत्रं शरीरं त्रिभुवनजननी व्यापिनी ज्ञानगंगा. Acharya gives this idea in the fifth sloka of Kashi Panchakam. Sharirameva Kashi Kshetra. Tribhuvana Janani Vyapini Jnana Ganga. Tribhuvana Janani, the mother for the three words, and Sarva Vyapini Jnana Ganga. Shraddha Bhakti Shraddha Gayeyam. The Gaya Kshetram. Nija Guru Charana Dhyana Yoga Prayagaha. All these are connected kshetras. Kashi, Gaya, Prayaga. As elderly people, you might have all visited these kshetras, especially in connection with Pitrakarmas, etc. So Acharya is letting us know that none of this is dependent on the geographical location, but they all can be ultimately achieved from the place where you are. Bhakti Shraddha Gaya. Nija Guru Charana Dhyana Yoga Prayagaha. Vishveshu Vayam Turiyaha. Sakala Jana Manasakshi Bhutontaraatma. Dehe Sarvam Madiye. Yedi Vasati Punas Tirthamanyat Kimasti. When you are able to do meditation, as mentioned above, what I mean, why is there even another Tirtha Yatra required? So, having thinking so, Acharya continued his days of life in Parama Pavitra Kasi Kshetra. One of the days when Acharya did Snanam in the Ganga Thiram and was about to walk back in the banks of the river Ganga, he heard a call from a Sishya who was found to be very devoted. He told the words it's to Bhagavad by calling him Hey Guru, Swamin Namaste Natha Lokabandho Karumya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdhau Mamudaratmiya Kataksha Drishtya Rijwadi Karumya Sudhabhivristya Durvara Samsara Davagni Todhuyamanam Duratrishtavatihi Bhitam Prapannam Paripahi Mrityogo Sharanyamanyam Yadaham Najane. Slokam number 37 and 38 in Viveka Chudamani. They were. Swamin Namaste Nata Lokabandho. Swamin Namaste. He Swamin ne Namo Namaha. Namo Namaha. I wanted to take Sashtanga. I wanted to take refuge and do Sashtanga Namaskara to your lotus feet. Namaste, Nata Lokabandho. You cannot afford to discard me. because you are the real bandhu of everybody in this world. Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Raghavaya Mahatmane Nivedayatamam Kshipram Vibhishanam Upastitam. This slokam is from Yuddha Kanda Ramayana. When Vibhishana approaches Sri Rama for Sharanagati, he uses this word Sarvaloka Sharanyaya. You cannot afford to tell me you will not take care of me because I am a Rakshasa or I am a brother of Ravana. All these things will not work out because you are committed to take refuge of anybody who surrenders to you. Similarly, here, this Bhakta tells Swamin Namaste Nata Loka Bandho. Okay, pa, I am a bandhu for all. But why should I consider you? Karunya Sindho. You are an ocean of compassion. What can ever stop you from considering me? Nata Loka Bandho. Karunya Sindho. What is the necessity for me to consider you? I have fallen deep into the pits of samsara. Patitam bhavabdhau. Now I have figured out a way that without effort I engage in sakama karma, which is giving me new karma phala, for which I am born again and again and again and again. Now I am trapped into this mayika prapancha and I don't know how to get out of this. In fact, this devotee who is named Sanandhana is representing all of us. So please retrieve me out. Mam uddharatmiya kataksha drishtyaga. Studying under you, getting the knowledge directly from you is all additional bhagya. But point one is that I should become a patram for your divya karuna kataksham first of all. You glance towards me. That by itself will prepare me. Mam uddharatmiya kataksha drishtya. So this is only step 0. Step 1, step 2, step 3 are different. They are higher levels which we have to go. But step 1 is the Guru has to at least look in our direction, right? Mam uddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rajvadi karunya sudhabhivrishtya durvara samsara davagni taptam dodhu yamanam duratishtavataihi. Hey Guru, having got trapped in the samsara chakra, it is very hot. Dodhuyamanam duratrishtavatehi durvara samsara dhavagni taptam. Dhavagni is forest fire. What do you mean by forest fire? Normal fire will be available in one direction. If you have stuck in forest fire, you will understand there will be fire in all the 4 directions. You turn to any direction, people talk about the body, people keep inquiring about the body, people keep inquiring about money, people keep discussing about other people, which is none other than core samsara by itself. After 1 hour of hearing Adhyatma Buddhi Vishayam, the moment you leave the Upanyasa hall, people will immediately inquire you, by looking at you, I feel that you have lost some weight. Or people will come and tell you have gained some weight. All this 1.5 hours Upanyasam has gone. You have discarded the Adhyatma Buddhi and immediately taken up the Dehatma Buddhi. Gone. That is what is samsara. What do you mean by samsaram? Samsaram is your body. You have to visualize samsaram. Samsaram is your body. Or prarabdham is your body. And other people who are very keen in maintaining you in the samsaram are the real threat for us. They never wanted you to go beyond this. The moment you even think of going beyond this, they'll immediately figure out a way to keep you in this. The moment I jokingly used to say, the moment a boy opens the Viveka Chudamani Pustakam, the parents will open the Jataka Pustakam. Because they are really afraid Ayyo, what if this fellow escapes this samsaram? They have a different name to it. They have a name called commitment. They have a name called passion to it. That is all different. But from the perspective of a person who wanted to go beyond samsaram, he becomes helpless. So, Durvara samsara davagni kaptam. Already it is forest fire, and someone is fueling the fire. What is it? Duratrishtavataihi. My prarabdham is fueling the fire. So the fire starts to turn in my direction, and I am chased. Now I am really afraid. It is not I am telling you for the sake of words. I am really afraid. I wanted to go beyond it. But it seems that I am incapable of doing. I don't find a real guide. And if I find a very good guide, he is very busy, occupied with a lot of other jobs. Nobody takes time for me to sit with me and help me. Bhitam, prapannam, paripahi mrityoho. Hey Parameshwara, this death keeps chasing me. Inevitably, I'm going to fall into the jaws of death. Let me cleverly use this opportunity with your help to go beyond death, being the only relative of me, Lokabandhuhu, Lokanathaha, Madhavaha, Bhaktavatsalaha. As told in the Sahasranamam, he is Lokabandhu. So, Bhitam, Prapannam, Paripahi Mrityoho, Sharanyamanyam, Yadaham Najane. I do not know another person who will be able to save me out of this. You're my only refuge. I don't have a backup plan. I don't have a plan B. If this guru is going to leave me, I'll go to the other person. I don't have a plan. You're my only refuge. I hope that you consider my Sharanagati towards you. The moment this devotee Sanandana told all these verses to Acharya Shankara, immediately Acharya reverted back. Again, Viveka Chudamani, 45th slokam. Ma bhaishta vidvanne. Don't worry. Ah, that by itself is enough, right? Don't worry. Don't worry. Just keep remembering it. Or if it fits you more in Sanskrit, just keep repeating Ma Sucha. Don't worry. Don't worry. I am here. Ma bhaishta vidvanne. I know there is no other upayam for you. Avanastya payaha. Samsara sindhos tarano styupayaha. I have the way out of the samsara chakra. Don't worry. Oh, Guru, how did you figure this out? How did you by yourself figure the way out of samsara? No, 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 no. I am not the one who figured this out. Enaiva yata yatayosya param tameva margam tava nirdishami. When all the other previous devotees came and took refuge in my guru's lotus feet, what upayam did my guru give to those refugees? I am going to give you the same upayam. I have not developed anything new. My guru followed the upayam followed by his guru, and he followed the upayam given by his guru. Nothing is new. It is all there in the Upanishads. I have not coined a new upayam and all. Yenaiva yata, the same way in which yatayosya param, the previous acharyas saved the previous sishyas, that same margam, that same upayam, that same technique I am going to tell you. Tameva margam tava nirdishami. Tameva margam. That is what the guru does now. He is not going to coin anything new. If at all he tells you that he is going to coin something new, don't go there. If he tells you that, see, all these Upanishad techniques are very old, age-old system this is. Sanatana Dharma it is age-old. So what have I done? I have figured out a very beautiful and a new unique way for going beyond the samsara. Abba, you have that with you. I don't want to take refuge in you. That very second, he has lost the credit. That is not something that we want. So Acharya took this Shishya, immediately gave him samsara ashrama, sannyasa ashrama. He took him out of the samsara ashrama and gave him the sannyasa ashrama. And he was still called Sanandana only. He is going to get the actual yoga bhatta later. As of now, he is only Sanandana. So the first disciple came to Acharya in the banks of the river Ganga. From there, it became a routine that Acharya would walk to Ganga, take bath, go to Vishwanatha Kshetram one day. Maybe the other day he'll go to Bindu Madhava Kshetram. The other day he goes to Annapurna Devi Kshetram. Or a couple of Kshetrams on the same day. Likewise, the routine changes. There will be teaching, there will be discussions, and all these things kept happening in Kashi. One of the days, Acharya again went to Ganga, took bath, Vigata Vishayatrishta Krishna Varadhayami, he told yesterday, no? Dropping everything that he had, he wanted to sit in the banks of river Ganga and do Krishna Aradhana. Similarly, he was doing the same. He left the ghat, walked towards the Vishwanatha Kshetra. A lot of Grihasthas have already joined the convoy. So they are walking in front of Acharya, few showing the path. Some local Brahmanas who knows the city well, who knows the temple well. Somebody has to guide Acharya, right? Under the orders of the Kashi Raja, they are helping Acharya. Few sannyasis are there. One Pradhana Sishya called Sanandana is also there. Just imagine this people walking one behind the other because it is a very small bylane. Even today, people might notice Kashi is filled with a number of very small bylanes. Even during Annapurna Pratishtha, when our Sannidhanam did, Sri Sannidhanam did Annapurna Pratishtha, many devotees told they all saw Adi Shankaracharya walking in the bylanes of Kashi, just like we are describing now. That too, the speed in which Sannidhanam walks, unmatchable speed. Similarly, Bhagavad also kept walking, and unexpectedly today, somebody came on the other way, on the opposite. Some devotees who were in front and in the side and the back of Acharya shouted, "Hey, Marga Tapasare! Marga Tapasare!" Which means leave the way. Move away from the way. Margat Apasara. That man who came in the opposite direction, from the outward appearance, they figured out that he belonged to a Chandala Putti, who are normally referred to as Swapachaha. Swa meaning dog. They are normally dog eaters. Anybody who understands the system, the sampradayam, will also understand what I am about to tell. Touching one another, even inside the house, is not a usual practice for us. When I utter it, you will all recognize it. How many times have you seen somebody coming and touching somebody inside our own house? We don't do that. We don't normally do that at all. I'm talking even in between husband and wife, even in between father and daughter, even in between brothers and sisters. Once you get up in the morning and when you have your Swadharmanushtana, nobody touches anyone else. It's a very, very, very common practice, common sense. You don't have to go deep into this Marga Tapasara at all. It's a very common practice. Just because few people have lost Achara, this is now seeming suddenly to be something abnormal. It is a very normal thing. But the question that the Chandala asked in return was something that these people did not expect. Every word I utter is important. I'm using carefully chosen words. They all thought that this fellow is a normal Chandala, he'll move immediately. Because they're all going to Vishwanath Kshetra for doing Abhishekam. Normally they'll have to maintain the madi. So they were walking, and this fellow came in the opposite and stood there and is still there. He's not moved. So they again shouted, "Hey, Appa, Marga Tapasara, move away." Now he reverted back by telling, "Whom are you telling to move? You're telling move away. Who has to move?" Now, what do you mean by who has to move? You only. No, me means who? I'm not a single entity. As of now, I see the Panchabhautika Shariram in the gross level, again Panchabhautika Shariram at subtle level, and there is one Karana Shariram. All these are all put together and they are all inert, which means Anatma only. How can an inert Anatma move? Can an inert Anatma move? Will you look at a wall and tell move away? Can you look at a brick and tell move away? You know they are all inert. Similarly, this body is also inert. It cannot move by itself. So if you are talking to the body, all the best, it cannot hear. It cannot walk. It by itself cannot taste. It by itself cannot grasp smell. All these things will not work out. Supposedly, if you are talking to the other thing, which is Atma, there are only two things, Atma and Anatma. If you do some deeper research, there is no Anatma also, because Anatma is dependent on Atma, so only Atma exists. But for the timely moment, for the momentary discussion, we'll consider two things exist. So he is now discarded that Anatma cannot move. The next possibility is Atma. Now he asks, can Atma move? No. Why? Atma is Sarvavyapi. If I have to move something from one place to the other, there is a prerequisite to it. This object should be present in its source. It should be absent in its destination. If so, I can move this object from source to destination. If the same object is present in the source and also in the destination, how will you consider moving that object? If you want Atma to move away, Atma is already Sarvavyapaka. So now tell me, think and tell me, whom are you asking to move? Stunned they were all. Normally people tell, even Bhagavatpada Acharya was part of this Ajnana conversation. That cannot be possible. Have that in mind. There is zero possibility of that being happening. The child who uttered Dasasloki yesterday cannot tell or cannot feel that there are Atma and Anatma, and then talking to the Anatma, Anatma has to move away. All these Dvaita Bhavas cannot enter into a Jnani. A Jnani cannot have degradation. He cannot be Jnani yesterday and suddenly become Ajnani today. All these things cannot be possible. This is all part of a divine Leela. That's all. From the absolute sense, we'll have to have in mind, there is no gradation in Jnanam at all. Once attained is attained. But the moment this Swapacha told the above reply, Acharya took this opportunity to give to the world about his attitude about Atmajnani. Immediately, Acharya took this opportunity and reverted back by telling, Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam sarvam chaitatavidyaya trigunaya asesham maya kalpitam itam yasya dridamatihi sukatare nitye pare nirmale Chandalostu Satudvijostu Gururityesha Manisha Mame Brahmaivagamidam Jagatcha Sakalam Chinmatra Vistaritam. Second slokam in Manisha Panchakam. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputatara Yasam Vidujrumbate ब्रह्मादि पिपीली कांत तनुषु प्रोता जगत साक्षिणी. A torrential flow of slokas started to come out of Acharya. Acharya uttered Brahmaiva aham, Brahmaiva aham. I am Brahman. Not only me, Jagat Sakalam, the entire world is also Brahman. It is only a mistake that you commit by looking at this as the world. And the moment you look at this as the world, you will enter all sorts of dvandvas, like labham, nashtam, priyam, apriyam, ishta, anishta, all those dvandvas you enter. So it is only because of the error. Jagatcha sakalam. It is the Brahman's Vyapaka Shakti. Chinmatra vistaritam. Sarvam Saita Tavidyaya. Then where did I get this notion of the world existing? Sarvam Saita Tavidyaya. It is because of avidya, which is ajnanam. Trigunaya. How is this avidya existing? Because of Maya. What is this Maya? Maya is equal to Sattvam, Rajas and Tamas. Trigunaya. Asesham Maya Kalpitam. With this, I have built my own empire. I now have a book segregated into two halves. All that I like and all that I dislike. The entire world I have separated into two divisions. When it comes to food, there are food that I like, food that I hate. When it comes to people, there are people I like, people I hate. When it comes to politicians, there are people who like, who I hate. With respect to the entire world, I have completely created my own empire. Asesham maya kalpitam. Having known that this is only ajnana, having known that this is because of the mithya swabhava of the trigunas, it is the rajas that is projecting the world and it is the tamas that is hiding Brahman. So this sadhaka who has understood it, ittam yasya dridamatihi sukatare nitye pare nirmale chandalostu satudvijostu gururityesha manisha mame. I don't care about the origin of that person. Let him be a Chandala because it is all in your perspective only. Let him be a Chandala. Let him be a Brahmana. But for me, he is my Guru. This is my sure conviction. This is not a mere opinion. This is not an opinion as part of a discussion. This is the conviction that they have developed after proper Shastra Vichara. Gururu Tyesha Manisha Mame. Manisha ityukte sure conviction. And that very same moment, for all the people, for all the people who were really worried about the incident, to end their worry, the Chandala immediately appeared as Parameshwara for all of them. For Shankara also he should appear, no? For Shankara, he is already Parameshwara. Only for all the others who did not know him as Parameshwara, he has to be seen as Parameshwara. When did Shankara lose conscience of everything being Parameshwara himself? So there is no need to tell he appeared as Parameshwara for Shankara, but for others who are really worried, they got the clarity. They took their path to Vishweshwara Sannidhi. What else is there to go to Vishweshwara hereafter? When you are able to see the Chid Vastu in a Chandala and in a Brahmana, this Prayoga is not very new actually. Even starting from Bhagavata, we have references telling that Padaravinda Vimukati Swapacham Varishtam Prahlada Stuti, third slokam, third or fourth if I am correct. Manye Tadarpitamano Vachasehitartha Dujat Dushat Guna Yutat Aravindanabha Padaravinda Vimukati Swapacham Varishtam. Prahlada utters the same, a very similar verse telling that when you have two people who is not devoted to Bhagavan and who is devoted to Bhagavan, let the devoted one be from another caste, from maybe the undevoted one be a Brahmana and the devoted one be a Chandala, but I will consider the Chandala only. Swapacham Varishtam. Varishtam meaning is superior. Just because he has got bhakti. Bhakti in Bhagavatam is always jnanam only. What we call jnanam is only. So how do we define bhakti in Bhagavatam is not sadhana rupa bhakti, but establishment in jnanam. That established state in jnanam is what we call bhakti in Bhagavatam. That is again a different topic because we see the lakshanas of a jnani detailed in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and the title of the topic is Bhakti Yogam. If you open Bhakti Yogam, it is only jnani. So we see a point of intersection there. So having had the darshana of Vishwanatha, Acharya immediately left to Annapurna Devi, and that Devi who readily serves everybody with food who comes to Kashi. From the Samanya Bairagi to Bhagavatpada Acharya, whoever comes to Kashi cannot go with hunger. But Acharya asks, hey, this food anybody can give me, but give me Jnana Bhiksha. Give me the Jnanam. So nicely Acharya stands in front of Annapurna Devi and utters, Nityanandakari Vara Bhayakari Saundarya Ratnakari Nirdhuta Kila Ghora Papanakari Pratyaksha Maheshwari. All other devotees like Sanandana have already started taking down all of this. Even Manisha Panchakam, Sanandana took down. Even Annapurna Stotram, Sanandana started to take down. Thank God somebody would have to take down, right? Otherwise, how it would have been possible for these granthas to reach us today? All the notes that they have taken has reached us nicely. Acharya came back from the temple, continued to stay in Kashi. And one day, while again wandering in the streets of Kashi, Acharya happened to see something unique. He found a person. I just go by the story here. Okay. He found a person who is like approximately 85, 87 years old, having a Vyakarana Pustakam in his hand, sitting with other small children and studying Vyakarana. Acharya, the moment he looked at this, he immediately pitied the person. Ayyo, what are you even trying to do? Your life can come to an end at any point of time. Now, why did you opt to resort to Vyakarana Shastram? Vyakaranam is something that you have to study at an younger age so that you can independently deal with the slokas. But there are other options. If you are 85 plus, can you keep mugging up the Vyakarana Shastram or the Sutras? Don't waste your time by doing it. It is a very contextual Upadesha. Maybe an youngster listening to this should not consider it. If you are a youngster youngster meaning when you feel that you are capable and you have the memory to do so, you are an youngster. That's all. I don't go by age and all that. I don't want to be hated by anyone in this audience. So I will go by the definition of if you feel you have the memory and the ability, you are an youngster. That's all. But clearly, this person in this context, was not in the zone of capability. He was beyond it. So immediately Acharya started doing Upadesam without him asking. So this is where compassion flows out. Normally, he is going to give an Upadesam only on a request. But he didn't bother anybody. He was sitting somewhere. He had a notes with him. Dugrinj karne, dugrinj karne, dugrinj karne. And immediately compassion flowed out and he started scolding that man with all due compassion and with all due what you call the relationship. He thought it is already established. In the entire world, there is a relationship established with Acharya. So Acharya took up this liberty and told him, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprahate Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Don't you know a great Acharya who lived near Kashi in the Omkareswara Kshetram? Who went by the name Govinda, who happened to my Guru also. Why do you go and surrender to any other text? You listen to the words of my Guru, or you listen to the words of my Ishtadevata Krishna. Bhaja Govindam. But I normally go with the first meaning. Because a stotram that starts with an idea normally will also end with the same idea. Because Acharya started this stotram with Bhaja Govindam, it has to be his Guru Govinda Bhagavatpada. That is why the last stanza is going to conclude by telling, take refuge under the Guru. This is my way of interpreting it. That's all. He started with the same idea. He also ends it with the same idea. So he naturally would have turned around and saw another few youngsters sitting in the same Veda Patasala. Same Veda Patasala. They might have thought, see, why is this old man sitting with me and studying all this? My Guru, if he has to teach him and me, it takes a lot of time. Maybe I have to be dealt with a different class, different time zone, as people call it today. I have to be respected with a different time zone. Why is this man with me? I come from a very profoundly rich family. I am younger. Probably Acharya started advising him, Mudhajanihi, Dhanagama Trishnam, Kurusad Buddhi Manasi Vitrishnam, Yellabhate Nija Karmopatam, Vittam Yena Vinodhaya Chittam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Samprate Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dhukrin Karane, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dhukrin Karane, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Acharya did not wait. He just left the place, started swiftly walking away. Only the others have to keep following him. Acharya will not wait for anyone. Acharya just started to walk. Others kept following him. Acharya should have probably continued with the stotram. So what I plan to do is, wherever Acharya is walking from one place to the other, we'll probably see one stanza of this stotram so that during the entire Vijay Yatra of Shankara, Bhaja Govinda stotram will keep repeating itself again and again. So that contextually it will not be focused on only one person, but instead to everybody who came in contact of Acharya would have had the opportunity to listen one of the stanzas. So virtually, I wanted to do it that way. Again, don't ask me if this is sampradayam. I'm just doing it this way. That's all. So having the time come to depart from Kashi, then Acharya immediately left to Bindu Madhava Kshetram, did Pradakshina Namaskara of Madhava, and then Acharya again went to the Kshetram of Kshetrapala, that is Kalabhairava, and again that is also very famous, right? Acharya did a stotram on Kalabhairava also, and then started to leave Kashi. If I keep uttering slokas in front of every devata, Acharya will never leave Kashi. Believe me, Acharya should have left Kashi yesterday evening only. But the camp is extended till today. Okay, because of me, the camp is getting extended. So Acharya immediately in a very short time told Devaraja Sevyamana Pavanangri Pankajam Yala Yajna Sutra Bindu Shekaram Kripakaram Naradari Yogi Brinda Vanditam Digambaram Kasika Puradhinatha Kala Bhairavam Bhaje. It was a very short trip to Kalabhairava Kshetram. Acharya might have taken a longer one, but in our, see, the attitude with which you have to, I beg you to have in mind when you hear to the Upanyasa is, don't think it happened. You have to have in mind it is happening now. In your mind, it is now happening. Okay? So it is let prayogam only. Okay, it is all let. It is happening now. Having told, Acharya took leave from all the people who kept serving him in Kashi and started his very divine yatra towards Himabhumi, toward Himavad Bhumi, that is Himalayas. So some group of people who kept walking towards him, along with him, predominantly Sanandana and few other Grihastha disciples, some other sannyasis, all accompanied Acharya. Acharya started from Kashi. All the local Kashi people came, and without, what you call, with a very long harp, they gave bye to Acharya. From Kashi, Acharya took his journey. Okay. Acharya crossed Kanyakujja, Hastinapuri. Hastinapuri is a place which is close to Sukatal. Today it's called Sukratal. I don't know why, but it is Sukatal, where Sukacharya heard, so Parikshit heard Bhagavatam from Sukha, very close to Hastinapuri. And in a few days, Acharya reached Haridwar. Haridwar is the gateway to Ganga. Okay, in those days, the dense forest took Acharya to Haridwar Kshetram. Haridwar is a place where you have a lot of historic occurrences. In Bhagavatam, when you start the Tritiya Skanda Parayanam, where the Vidura Maitreya Samvada starts, through which the entire Srishti is explained, contextually that is grounded in Haridwar. Haridwar was the Kshetram. Maharishi Narada gave away his body in Haridwar. Ajamila, after understanding the Govinda Nama, Narayana Nama Mahatmyam, came to Haridwar, stayed here, and did Akshara Laksha Japam of Narayana Nama and attained moksham here. Dakshayagam happened in Haridwar. These are all things to remember when you go Haridwar. And Haridwar is the place where the river gets her name Ganga. Till then, she cannot be called Ganga. It can be called Bhagirathi, it can be called Janhavi, it can be called Vishnupati, it can be called Mandakini. How many names for this girl only, no? Gone is Bhumi. So Haridwar is Bhumi. Till then, it is all Devata Sanchara places where only Devatas can do Sanchara. So when she touches Bhumi in Haridwar, she gets her name Ganga. So Acharya took bath, nice bath there. Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvana Tarini Tarala Gange Shankara Mauli Viharini Vimale Mama Matirastam Tava Pada Kamale Devi Sureshwari. Endless is the love for Ganga for Acharya. So wherever he sees Ganga, Acharya immediately composes a nice stotram and takes bath there. And as I told you, this is a historically profound place. So Acharya explained the significance of Haridwar to all his devotees and stayed there for a couple of days maybe, and then started to proceed towards Rishikesh. But Haridwar to Rishikesh Yatra, you have to see, in in Haridwar, Ganga will get the color brown. When you slowly walk towards Rishikesh, you will see the tropical green color in Rishikesh. It will be white in some places, especially places like Shivananda Ashram, Gita Mandir, that is all there. You have to see how Ganga, especially Shivananda Ghat, no, she comes inside, she'll enter the ashram and go away, as though she comes, does sparsham of the ashrama and goes away. How many sadhakas we know in the recent years, blessed by Swami Shivananda, eh, such a great sadhaka he was. In fact, when you look into history, Swami Shivananda used to encourage all the disciples to maintain something called spirituality diary. You have to just download. Don't immediately parallelly open a tab and search. Once the Upanyasa is over, you search Shivananda spirituality diary. Okay, every devotee has to maintain. Starting from when you wake up till you go to bed, he'll give you all the instructions. How many asanas did you do? How many rounds of mala japa did you do? Did you do your Nitya Upasana? Did you do your daily meditation? What food did you have? How many rupees donation did you give? What teaching did you give? What did you learn today? Likewise, you have to fill the diary daily. And at the end of the month, you have to courier it to Rishikesh. Then Swamiji will evaluate it and tell you back. This is how he kept his disciples intact. So when you talk about Rishikesh, the modern mind cannot skip Swami Shivananda. So this land of Rishikesh is also appreciated to be the land of yajnas. When you see Bhagavatam, you can see a lot of kings who have come to Rishikesh and they have taken up their sankalpa for yaga. There is a temple for Yajneshwara Vishnu here. Yajnavai Vishnu, as it is given in the Vedas. Yajnavai Vishnu. There is a Vishnu temple called Yajneshwara. So they reached the temple there. Unfortunately, there was no idol there. So Acharya inquired the locals what happened to the idol. Then they told that the local people reported that it was hidden in the Ganga years ago. So you see this pattern from here on. In many temples, they have done it. So immediately Acharya came to the banks of the river Ganga in Rishikesh and pointed at a particular place and told them, go search there. Immediately they deployed a team. They entered into the water and searched and immediately found the Murti available there only. So Acharya did Pratishtapana of that Yajneshwara Vishnu there and then departed. See how many things he parallelly does in his Vijaya Yatra. In one end, he is dealing with the Durmatastas or Pratimatastas. In one end, he is establishing temples. In one hand, he is gaining new devotees. All these things happen parallelly. So this Pratishta Kumbhabhishekam of this temple happened there immediately. Okay, on the way, it has been reported that Acharya had darshan of a few idols of Bhagavan Vedavyasa on the way. So there were a few Vyasa Mandiras on the way. So Acharya had darshan of ancient idol of Vyasa and slowly walking along the path of Ganges only. So if you take up this yatra, we will understand most of the route will be alongside Ganga only. Ganga will receive you at every place because you will walk towards Badri. Ganga will come from Badri. So she will keep receiving you at every spot. Okay, it happens so as though the roar of Ganga is that she is trying to receive you at every spot. So Acharya slowly walked and reached the Devaprayag. So this Devaprayag is a place where there is a confluence of Alakananda and Bhagirathi. Alakananda comes from Badri Kshetra. Bhagirathi comes from Gomukh. So Acharya took a dip in Brahmakunda along with his disciples there and offered worship to the deity in a traditional manner. taking a dip, doing sankalpa snanam, coming out, vibhuti dharanam, kashaya danda vastra swikaranam. I mean, taking it from the Shishya, entering into the temple, doing puja, just like how today's Vijay Yatra of Acharya happens. It tracks back to the time of Acharya, Bhagavad Acharya. This is how every Vijay Yatra would happen. So Acharya continued his walk. So from there, from Devaprayag, Acharya arrived at a place called Bilbakeda. Okay. This is the place where Markandeya had performed severe penance. So from there, spending a day or so there, Acharya continued his journey and then reached a place called Sri Kshetra. Particularly, this Sri Kshetra is a place where nature's beauty cannot be missed. So there, Acharya saw the temples of Kamaleshwara Shiva, Vishnu, 5 Pandavas, Narada, and other deities there. So it has to be understood that this has been a very big place with a lot of temples, especially that of Kamaleshwara Shiva. And in the Devi temple, in the Sri Kshetra, they saw a Siddha Pita of Sri Yantra Sila, Rajarajeshwari, Gauri, Chamundi, Mahishamardini, Kamasamardini, etc. So on inquiry, they understood that there was been human sacrifice that was performed there. Acharya immediately called the local village heads, sat with them for discussion, and they explained it to them how that practice is not Vaidika, how that is not a Vaidika practice. And I explained it to them and spoke with them about the tantric practices. And to the surprise of all, the local residents, with the help of Acharya's advice, they immediately decided to stop the human sacrifice there as a part of their upasana. And they changed. That is why you need a Mahapurusha. Anybody can go and talk to them, but we don't know whether will they listen or not. If these people come down, you will immediately have a receptive mindset where people will also start listening. From Sri Kshetra, Acharya proceeded towards Rudraprayaga. And in Rudraprayaga, there is the confluence of Mandakini and Alakananda. And Rudreshwara Mahadeva was the prominent deity in Rudraprayaga. Having worshipped, again having bath in the Ganges, Acharya took bath in Ganges, went to the temple, did Upasana, and started his travel. From there, from Rudraprayag, Acharya reached Karnaprayag. This is the place where Karna should have done penance. Otherwise, this place should have been some way or the other related to Karna. So, and if you do some research, we also understand that this is the place which was anciently referred to Kanvashrama. Maharishi Kanva had his ashrama here. So, and this is the place where Pindaraka joins Alakananda. So, everywhere after Rishikesh, you see confluences coming together. In some places, you see the river being brown in color, and the other river will be so purely white in color, and they'll merge together. And then, just like we do color mixing in palettes while we paint, similarly, nature has its color palette there. 2 colors getting mixed, and then a new color comes out of it. So, from there, Acharya proceeded towards Nandaprayag. And everywhere you see, it will not be only rote traveling. Acharya would sit for meditation then and there. Wherever new disciples come with questions, Acharya would have answered them, given solutions, given Marga Darshanam for everybody. From Nandaprayag, they started their journey. Acharya turned towards the disciples and told, from here on, Badiri Kshetram starts. So this is the, what you called, boundary of Badrinarayana. Okay, so a king called Nanda, who was ruling back then, started to accompany Acharya in important places like Rudraprayag, Karnaprayag. In between, as he being a king, may not accompany Acharya. So in important places, he used to come and do all the required arrangements for Acharya's stay, Nitya Puja, Dhyana, everything, and then he would leave. So you see people coming and helping Acharya throughout the yatra. And this is the place where Shiva is said to have performed penance after he lost Sati Devi. So that is why here it is called Virahi Ganga and Viraha Maheshwara Devata. The Devata here is Parameshwara. He is again called Viraha, or he is called Viraheshwara. Viraheshwara meaning he is separated from Ambal, right? So having Sati given up her own body, Parameshwara is in Virahavastha there. So you see the Puranic connection with all the temples. So the Devata appearing there with respect to a particular story. So these all happened in Nandaprayag. From Nandaprayag, Acharya started his journey again. You have to imagine now, both the sides, there were snow-capped white mountains. And just to the right or left of Acharya, Ganga would keep flowing with a great roar. Acharya at times will stop, do puja to Ganga Devi, do puja to Himavan himself, maybe to a local deity, some Upadesha, some Dhyana, some Anushtana, Yatra. That is how the Yatra should have proceeded. Acharya from Nandaprayag proceeded towards Garuda Ganga. So here, there is a idol of Vishnu, which is revered as Garudeshwara. So when you happen to take up all this yatra tomorrow, just imagine you are just walking on the same paths of Bhagavatpada Shankara. And this Garudeshwara, where normally Garuda is associated with medicinal qualities. Even here, the water here is considered to have medicinal qualities. And the dip in this water, the Ganga in this area, is believed to bring relief to even effects of one of the most severe poisons in the world. That is the belief. From there, they started their yatra and went to Ganesha Ganga. And Ganesha Ganga, people who visit there and come back tell that even the soil there is, closely saffron-like color. So that is the beauty of the sand there. So from there, for a few days, they stayed there. And Charmanvati River flows to its north here. And there is a famous Meshadri mountains here. And Acharya also worshipped an image of Chandi, Ambal in the form of Chandi there. And there they proceeded and reached a place called Gauriashrama. And Vishnu Kunda is a place which is a bit further away from there. Once you reach Vishnu Kunda and from there and go beyond, that is Jyotirdhama, which is Badrika Ashrama Kshetra. Okay, I just gave you the map. So walking slowly, headed by Bhagavatpada Shankara, the group of ascetics or the group of sannyasis, they reached Jyotirdhama. Here at Vishnupriya, here this place is called Vishnuprayaga. Here, Vishnu Ganga joins Alakananda. It is all Ganga only, okay? These are all tributaries of Ganga. And in that place, there is a beautiful Archavatara of Yoga Narasimha. There is also an idol of Vasudeva in standing yogic posture. The moment Acharya took glance of this Vasudeva doing dhyana in standing posture, that very moment Acharya also attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi and stood there motionless. All the devotees, all the Sishyas who were following did not understand who is the original, who is the Pratibimba, who is Bhagavan Vasudeva. Is this Vasudeva or is that Vasudeva? Or is it like mirror and the Pratibimba? Acharya also stood there. He worshipped Vasudeva. And from Vishnuprayag, they started their journey and went to Bringikunda, then to Ganesha Tirtha. And there are many other places on the way. And slowly they reached a place called Pandukeshwara. You all know the story of Pandu Maharaja in Mahabharata. Pandu took up Vanaprastha Ashrama. And this is the place where Pandu performed all his austerities in Vanaprastha Ashrama. So thinking of Pandu Maharaja, they stayed there. After this, they saw Vaikasana Tirtha. From there, they entered Badrikasana Kshetra. Exactly, if you want the timeline, 3 months after they started from Kashi, they have now entered Badrikasana Kshetra. Snow-capped mountains, beautifully raised um, to the levels of sky, probably temperature dropping down to minus in the night. Acharya again stood there as a lone tapasvi who was barely 13 years old. So, age 12, he left Omkareshwara, came to Kashi. Let us give 6 months in Kashi because Acharya would have done a lot of encounters in Kashi. So 12 and a half years old, he should have entered Badrikasrama Kshetra. This is the timeline that is there in my mind. Don't ask me proof for all of this. As I told you, it is all happening now in our mind. That's all. So Acharya visiting all the nearby temple, they arrived at the most sacred temple of Narayana, that is the Badrikasrama Kshetra. One cannot go without thinking of the sloka in Ekadasha Skandam of Bhagavatam, where Bhagavan, after doing Upadesha to Uddhava, tells Uddhava, hey Uddhava, Gacho Uddhava Mama Ashramam. Gacha Uddhava Mama Ashramam. This is how that Adhyayam starts. Find out that Adhyayam and read. Where Bhagavan himself describes Badrikashrama to Uddhava. Hey Uddhava, that is my own ashrama. I have reserved it for you. You have to go there and see the beauty of Ganga falling, running there. Go there, do snanam and do tapas. Don't go there empty-handed. Immediately, Bhagavan gave the Shri Padukas to Uddhava after Uddhava Gita. So, remembering Uddhava and remembering Bhagavan Krishna, Acharya, with all due expectations to have the Murti's darshan, he entered into the sanctum sanctorium but found only one Salagrama Murti on the Pitham. There was no Murti there. There was only Salagrama. There was only a Salagrama. Acharya immediately, intuitively missed the Vigraham there. It is all intuition. He turned towards the people who are doing the puja kainkariam there and asked them, where is the Murti? Even they did not know anything. They turned towards one of the elderly Archaka there, and he came out and answered, thank God you knew about it. There was a Murti here, but because of the invasion that keeps happening here from the northeast direction, probably from China, etc., one of our Purva Archakas have safely placed it inside the Ganga. Because we usually fear Chinese plunderers who have frequently invaded the area. But later, we were not able to find it despite a thorough search. So we were wondering how to go ahead. So instead of leaving the Pitam blank, we have kept a Salagramam here. None of this Acharya knew, but intuitively he asked, where is the Murti? Acharya, having heard this thoroughly, having listened to it thoroughly, he sat in still meditation for a long time in closed eyes. Once the meditation was over, Acharya stood up. It felt as though he was possessed. He walked towards the Ganga, who was one of who was taken a form of she was at the peak of her what do you call it, fearful nature in Badrikashrama. This child who is only 12 and a half years old started to walk swiftly towards Ganga. That is why I used the word he appeared to be possessed. Immediately, the senior Archakas came running behind Acharya telling that you should not enter into the river. It is highly dangerous. do not enter. But Acharya was not in a position to hear. In fact, they shouted, no. This, in fact, is the confluence of Alakananda with other streams here. Alakananda by herself is highly fearful in nature. She is now generating power that comes from the other rivers also. Especially the undercurrent might pull one leg into the deeps of the river and even cause death. That is why anybody goes to Badri Kshetram and the Kedara Kshetram, when they come back, you cannot ask them whether you took bath in Ganga. You cannot ask them Ganga Snana Macha. You can ask them Ganga Darshana Macha only you can ask. Nobody can take bath there. But Acharya, in a very short while, having heard the story, having listened to the story, is now in the banks of river Alakananda. Gave away his Uttariyam to the disciples who were on the shore, especially to Sanandana. He gave his staff, that is his danda, to the disciple. He gave the kamandalu and started to swiftly enter the river. I used to usually pass here. It is in my meditation. Okay. I used to meditate upon this incident frequently, and immediately one point strikes me. If Aryamba was there beside, would she have allowed this to happen? Huh? We are all listening to the stories. We are all happy in Acharya entering. We didn't care about Acharya. But just imagine this Punyavati who is here in Kalati did not know what his son is up to. In age 12, if a boy tries to enter inside Alakananda, which mother would feel proud about it? She would have been terrified. But that is how it is. This is the purpose for which she gave away Shankara. She knows what he was capable of. He knows his real nature. So she should have expected it. Acharya took a dip inside the river. The river was running alola, kallola, parlolam, zone sound. The undercurrent was very heavy. The waves were hitting the shore. In Ramayana, to make us understand the temperature in the forest, Valmiki does a Varnana. When Rama was about to take bath in the river, before Rama, in the next ghat, few elephants came to take water. The moment the elephants kept their trunk inside the water, we are referring to a place called Nasik in Maharashtra, where Godavari was running. In Godavari, almost the mid part of the country, this description. Okay. The elephants touch the water and immediately take the tusk out, because for an elephant's skin, the water was very cold. Now imagine the altitude in which Acharya is there. Imagine the snow-capped mountains from where water is coming down. Imagine the coldness that can be experienced there. Without care for body, Acharya entered into the river. Now also remember the recent visit of Sri Sannidhanam to Badrinath, the similar way in which Sannidhanam was not affected by the coldness of Badri. If you want a relative experience, you see the people who accompanied Acharya. They were wearing 3-layered dress. They wore a thermal inside, and on top of that they wore a dress, and top of that they wore a sweater, and on top of that they wore a shawl, and then something to protect their head. Acharya, you see in the middle of them, wearing on Uttariyam and coming out. History repeats itself. History repeats. This child entering into Ganga, taking bath without care, few seconds passed. All those on the shore were really worried. Few seconds passed. They didn't know what to do. Should they have to go in? Should they have to shout? When they were starting to worry more, immediately Acharya plunged out of Ganga with the Badrinarayana Murti Vigram in his hand. Remember this when you visit Badri. There is no Badrinarayana Murti today without our Acharya. He came out with the Badrinarayana Vigraham and immediately took the Vigraham in his shoulders and walked all the way. Just like a man who is searching for wealth has found wealth would rejoice. Acharya, as he found his Ishtamurti, started to dance with the Murti on the shores of Ganga there, came all the way, and immediately with the help of the Badrikashrama Maharaja, date was fixed for Pratishtha Kumbhabhishekam of the Vigraham in Badrinath. Acharya, who was only 12.5 years old, performed the Pratishtha Kumbhabhishekam of this Murti. You have to see the Murti. If you see, Bhagavan there would be sitting in Padmasana, Samaha Kaya Shirogrivam, as told in Bhagavad Gita. Samak Kaya Shiraha, meaning head. Shira, Grivaha, meaning the neck, and Kaya, body. They should be in the same line. So Acharya saw the Murti who was in a yogic posture. The idol is in Padmasana posture. Okay. So Acharya came up with the Murti and did Pratishtha Kumbhabhishekam. And when the Kumbhabhishekam happened, Acharya chanted, He Badrikesha Karunamaya Dina Bandho, He Bodharupa Sukha Chinmaya Tattva Murte, He Naradadi Muni Sevita Pada Padma, Samsara Dukka Gahanat Paripahi Vrishno, He Veda Gita Giri Madhya Krita Pratishta, He Tapasali Munibringanu Tangri Padma, He Bhukti Mukti Samakanana Devadaro, Samsara Dukka Gahanat Paripahi Vishnu. He Veda Gita Girimadhya Krita Pratishta. Literally, Acharya gives the photograph of Badri. He Veda Gita Girimadhya, in the middle of Himalayas, Girimadhya Krita Pratishta, having established you in the middle of the Himavat Bhumi. He Tapasali Muni Bhringanu Tangri Padma. He Bhakti Mukti Samakanana Devadaro, Samsara Dukka Gahanate Paripahi Vishnu. Acharya knows only one thing, that is Advaitam alone. There is nothing, there is no number two that Acharya knows. So let that be Stotram, let that be Prakaranam, let that be Bhashyam. He Badrikesha Karunamaya Dina Bandho. He started with the Dasya Bhavam. Suddenly you see the Aikya Bhavam. He Bodha Rupa Sukha Chinmaya Tattva Muhurte. He Naradadi Munisevita Padha Padma Samsara Dukka Gahanat Paripahi Vishnu. Naradadi Munisevita. Narada is a very favorite bhakta of Bhagavan. So Acharya is trying to refer Narada and pacify Bhagavan also. Just like you blessed him, also bless me. Bless us. So having done the Pratishtha Kumbhabhishekam, Acharya spent few days in Badrikashrama in total, absolute solitude. No, he is not the Acharya who came to Omkareshwara for the first time. He is no famous. So having known that great Maharajas come all the way to do seva, people start coming. But still Acharya want to spend some time there. And he used to sit looking at the open sky, beautiful snow-covered mountains. Stoshye bhaktya Vishnumanadim Jagadadim Yasmin Netam Samsmriti Chakram Brahmati Stam Yasmin Drishte Nashyati Tattvam Sriti Chakram Tam Samsaradvanta Vinasham Harimide. Harimida Stavam. I am not able to leave one stotra and go further. And the beauty is that the trouble is every verse will turn you into it. So having uttered a slokam and proceeding with the charitram is the difficult part. In all other charitram, it will just go. There will be a flow, no? But the moment you utter yasmin drishte nashyati samsmriti chakram tam samsaratvam vinasham parimide. Who will you proceed now with the story? I don't know. Because the moment you utter the power that these verses have got, the Anugraha Sakti, the Sanidhyam of Shankara and all these verses immediately turns us into it. So that is a real struggle going further. Acharya has in mind, he is now parallelly searching for a place to sit down in solitude because people are coming. So Acharya left Badrikashrama slowly to Vyasatirtha. In Vyasatirtham, river Saraswati flowed westward by the side of Vyasashrama. Here is the confluence of Alakananda and Keshav Ganga. Vyasashrama is a large cave there located in a triangular flat area just on the foot, on the base of Himagiri herself. This place that I am referring is to the northern direction of Badrinarayana. And this is repeatedly the place that has gained the reputation that sage Maharishi Vedavyasa has composed Mahabharata and the Puranas, especially Bhagavata, in the same cave. So naturally, Acharya got the, what do you call it, Vyasa Bhava here. Where Vyasa stayed and the torrential flow of slokas came, Acharya also stayed there. From the journey, starting from his stay in Kashi, Omkareshwara, Rishikesh, and also the detailed journey that I described now, all the way to Himalayas, Acharya has almost grasped the doctrines of Shaiva, Pasupata, Sankhya, Patanjala, Vaikasana, Pancharatra, Shaura, Shakta, Ganapatya, Jaina, Bauddha, Charvaka, and all the other popular sects. It would appear as though Acharya was just walking. But he has taken notes everywhere. He should have had a set of notes with him. Be very practical. Be very practical. All the questions that he should have heard on the way, people claiming. Acharya, with all those notes, who are they? What is their notes? They are all the Purva Pakshis in the Bhashya. All the notes that is collected, they are all the Purva Pakshis who is going to come up. Entire Bhashya, you see a Purva Pakshi coming up, no? These are all those people plunged out of the notes and came up. This knowledge helped him proposing the views of Purva Pakshas throughout Gita Bhashyam, especially in Sutra Bhashyam. And just to put it in a very poetic way, the great akarmi or the great non-doer started to work day and night there in Vyasaguha. I don't know how he wrote, but he started writing the Bhashyas, unaware of the passage of time. I'm just going to go further with the story, but you cannot go further. Acharya stayed there in this place alone for 3 years in perfect solitude. During summer, people would come up, have darshan. We'll also hear that there is a great sage here, come up, have darshan. But during winter, there will be no disturbance. They will also take the murti down for puja. So there will be utterly no disturbance there. So Acharya was in perfect solitude. Only Sanandana was available with him. doing some Sushrusha here and there. Within the span of 3 years, he finished writing the commentaries on Prasthanatraya, comprising of Shruti Prasthana, the Upanishads, Mriti Prasthana, the Bhagavad Gita, and Nyaya Prasthana or the Yukti Prasthana, the Brahma Sutras. Acharya commendably laid the foundation of the entire Advaita Sampradaya with his great, my Guru, my Shastriya used to tell, that is a Prauda Gambhira Vashyam or Prasanna Gambhira Vashyam. How can something be Prasanna and Gambhira at the same time? In fact, when I underwent the Bhashya Patam, my Guru used to tell me, Appa, you better mug this up. You mug this up. Have the entire Bhashya mugged up. It is worth doing, he used to tell me. Accidentally, Prasangat, I'm not planned on telling this, but I encountered a new person. She is a girl from Japan. She is undergoing Bhashya Patam under a very renowned scholar here in India. I happened to converse with her. Close to 50% of Sutra Bhashyam she has mugged up. Literally mugged up. I say, I'm not a believer on the first go. Okay. I had the book with me and asked her to recite it. Ishmad Asmat Pratyagotara Visham, starting from from the Abhyasa Bhashyam, she started reciting. And I kept following page after page after page after page. I then understood my Guru telling me to mug up the Bhashya. This is there in the Sampradayam, I understood. And then what? At a point after the Chatussutri, she stopped. I thought it is over. Then she asked me, should I continue? Maharaj, he asked me, Maharaj, should I continue further? Do you have time? It was a hard slap on my face. My Guru telling me, mug up the entire Bhashya. There are people who are taking it up. And I observed one point, the joy she has when she tells it out. See, reading is different, but the moment it becomes kantastham, no, you will start enjoying it. Your eyes will not be focused on the words. Instead, your mind will start focusing on the arthanasandhanam. That is how the bhashyas have to be dealt with. And especially, you leave everything else. Focus on the Bhagavad Gita bhashya. Leave everything else. Now I'm going to talk on all the bhashyams. That is there. But that is how I'm going to summarize it or end it. That is how I'm starting it. Starting from Shruti Prasthana, the Upanishads. Acharya wrote commentaries on the 10 primary Upanishads: Ishopanishad, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Mandakopanishad, Mandukyopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Aitareyopanishad, Taitriyopanishad, Chandogya, and Brihadaranyaka. Just to give you an intensity, Brihadaranyaka alone has 12,000 mantras in it. Just to give you the intensity of the work undertaken. We don't have previous bhashyas, previous versions that have to be corrected. All the other bhashyams which later came was opposing Shankara bhashyam. It was very easy. Acharya laid the line and they all followed with a big road. It was very easy. But who is going to first lay the first line? You look into the Ekanati Bhagavatam Ekadasa Skandam, you refer to the Jnaneshwari Vyakyanam of Bhagavad Gita written by the great Jnaneshwara, you see them refer Acharya. They all start their Gita Bhashyam by telling, this Bhagavad Gita is just like a huge forest in front of us. We are not able to understand where it starts, where it ends. But thank God there has been an elephant that has walked ahead of us. What happens if an elephant walks? It will create a path. We only have to follow this elephant called Shankara inside the forest of the Upanishads and the Gita and the Sutras. I'll tell you one fact. If I give you the Bhagavad Gita Pustakam, even figuring out where Gita is, it will take you 10 minutes. If you want, attempt it in a library. Back then, what library was there? Back then, what was the source of all of this? Imagine the strain he should have taken. Imagine the strain he would have taken to first segregate all the Puranas, segregate the important parts from the Puranas like Mahabharata. Lakshan Grantham. Mahabharata is 1 lakh Granthas. Just to give you a comparison, Ramayana that we take 9 days to read is made up of 24,000 slokas. Bhagavatam made up of 18,000 slokas. Close to 7-8 times of the size of Bhagavata is Mahabharata. In which Acharya has comfortably picked out Sanat Sujatiyam, comfortably picked out Vishnu Sahasranama, comfortably picked out Bhagavad Gita, and written Bhashyam for all the three. See how comfortable he has made life for all the other Acharyas who followed. I can easily come and oppose here. I can easily come and tell you that this is not the way, that is the way. But to tell you there is a way, I can tell this is not the route, that is the route. But who told you there is a route, first of all? Who laid the route, first of all? So, the Upanishads or the Shruti are the primary. They are not Paurushaya, which means they are not written by a person. It is Paurushaya. If so, attempting to even do Bhashyam on that is a Herculean task. If it is written by a Saha Manisha, then it is easy for me. Because one man has written, I'll write the commentary. It's an easy approach. But the moment I take the Upanishads in hand, first thing that I come to know is it is Apaurushaya. It is the Parabrahma Vastus Nitya Swasam. Attempting to comment on this takes you a lot of courage. Unless you are Paramatma himself, you cannot even attempt it. This is the proof that Acharya is Parameshwara himself. Don't go by any other proofs. Nobody have to come and tell you is Parameshwara. Don't ask me, how do you know? This is the proof. If the moment he attempted the Bhashya on the Upanishads, this by itself is the proof that he is Parameshwara. That too, in an uncomprehensive manner. It is not that he started writing something weird. Likewise, we have a lot of Bhashyas. In an uncomprehensive manner, till date, from the date of commencing his Bhashyam, till date, there is not one word added, there is not one word subtracted. It is just like that verbatim available, still makes perfect sense. That is the ability of the Acharya, that is the clarity that he has attained. Next, coming to Gita Bhashya. At the start only, Acharya ended it. What is Bhagavad Gita according to Acharya? Samasta Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam Durvignayartham. Samasta Vedartha Sara Sangraha Bhutam. Acharya tells, this is the quintessence of the entire Vedic knowledge and that which is also difficult to comprehend. For which I am starting the Bhashya Rachanam. It is exactly 7. I'll stop it here. Tomorrow we'll just pick from Bhagavad Gita Bhashyam only. At least the Amukha Bhagam, few lines we'll read because doing a Saptaham on Shankara and skipping the Bhashya will not make any sense at all. So at least for few verses we'll read here and there. And then we'll take bath in the Bhashya Ganga, and then we'll go continue with the journey further. Namo Namaha. Ram Ram. Karmasu Atmochiteshu Stiratara Dishanam Dehadaridhyam Padartham Dirgancha Ayur Yasascha Tribhuvana Viditam Papamarga Tiraktin Satsangam Satkathayaha Shravanam Apisata Devidadva Kripabhe Vidyam Shuddhancha Buddhim Kamalaja Dahite Satwaram Ehi Machya.